Just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. A very special episode for two reasons. My employee actually did a bit of work, and also we have these shirts now, which are actually fully signed Chopperoos, Australian national shirts. So credit to my employee. He actually did his job. He actually got we got emailed from the Chopperoos after our, we're top of the heap. So yeah. when we do a podcast, everyone hears about it. And they reached out to Dennis and they just, gave him an insight into there's some deep politics going on. Apparently a lot of deep politics, because we found out that Dave Foster,
greatest wood chopper
of all time, has never actually represented the Chopperoos.
See, that boggles the mind. Yeah, it really does. I don't know what's happened internally there, if there's been some sort of falling out.
Well, there has to have been. Something's happened.
Then there needs to be a breaking of bread. Or a chopping of wood. I don't know. Because
we've got to chop some loaves.
You know what I mean? It doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right with me.
No.
Not as a proud Chopperoo fan.
Dave Foster, he deserves better than to not be in some way included in the Chopperoos. Is there an inquiry? Something
Royal Commission?
A Royal Commission.
Why not? I mean, look, Royal Commissions usually unearth answers. They're expensive, but I don't think we spare expense here.
Yeah, and to be honest, there's not really that much going on in the country right now.
Nothing, fuck all.
No.
The Olympics are important, but,
we've got time.
Why Dave Foster's not chopping for the Chopperoos, equally important.
Why aren't people marching for that? That's something I can march for.
I'll march for Dave Foster any day of the week. I think that the nation as a whole would be like, we'll break lockdown to march for Dave.
Well, I think everyone outside of Sydney should be marching, Tom.
Yeah, and we could get that guy who was in the march with the flaming swords, flaming axes.
Yeah, I don't know if he gets a run, but I know your point.
I like where you're going with the entertainment side of things.
I think you need to have some entertainment factor there as well.
Yes, you do.
And flaming axes screams entertainment.
It does.
Chopping wood with flaming axes.
Chopping flaming wood with flaming axes.
That could work.
In the name of Dave Foster.
In the name. When I was younger,
now we're getting somewhere.
When I was younger, I had a temper problem, and some say I still have a temper problem. Some, but that's allegedly. And my parents used to make me walk around the house until I stopped violently lashing out.
Yep.
And
as in the outside of the house?
Yeah, they would lock me outside, and I would do laps around the house until I'd calm down. Am I a sociopath? Did I kill people? Maybe.
Maybe.
But do you think
do you still wet the bed?
Possibly.
Usually a sign of a serial killer.
Really? Mm. I wet the bed till I was 6. Is that old?
Nah, that's not old.
What is the cutoff age where you, from a boy to man? Do you think stopping wetting the bed, that's when you become a man, or am I just really late?
Some would say it's when the testicles drop.
Descend.
But I would argue the former. It's when you stop wetting the bed.
I wet the bed after my Year 10 formal because I may have been legally or drinking at 16 years old. But I wet the bed, and Dad, or staying with my dad, he came in and I was like, Dad, I think the dog pissed on me. And I didn't realise that you could piss the bed when you were drunk. So I was like, Dad, I think the dog pissed on me. And he's like, no, you pissed the bed. And then just walked out of the room, and I'm like, sitting there in it. I'm like, what?
Does part of you still think that the dog was...
Well, initially I thought, I'm sweaty. Then it was like, I think the dog pissed on me. Then Dad went, you pissed the bed, and just walked out of the room.
But you may have been framed.
There's every chance I was framed, but it's hard to know. I don't have a sense of smell, so I couldn't smell the piss. So I didn't know what was going on.
But your dad could, and he basically ticked it off.
Yeah, immediately knew. My son's pissed the bed. Yeah, and he wouldn't put it past you.
No.
Like, yes, he is in year 10. Yes, he's 16 years old. He's a kind of guy that would piss the bed at that age. Yeah. That's what your dad thought.
That's what Dad thought of me.
Which, that can cause some trauma that your dad would immediately assume that you pissed the bed.
Yeah, he also didn't hang around. He didn't let it sit in the air. He just goes, no, you pissed the bed. And just
he was ashamed. He left. Is that where you were going with your story?
It definitely wasn't, but I'm glad we got to that point in, I guess, our conversation. I was going down the route of, do you think choppers are sent outside to chop a bit of wood when they're a bit angry, or to settle a dispute? Does this need to be settled with a great chop-off between Foster and the Chopperoos? Maybe they send out their hero like Achilles in Troy.
I like that.
They send out their hero, like this big, scary Dave Foster comes out. Chopperoos select their greatest chopper of all time.
I would say good luck.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
Yeah, well, Dave Foster is Achilles in this.
Okay, so Dave
Foster's undefeated.
Yeah.
He's never lost.
Dave Foster is Achilles in this situation, and then whoever the Chopperoos... And listen, we're still fans of the Chopperoos, but it does break our hearts to know Dave wasn't included, but whoever they send out is probably going to get put to the axe pretty quickly.
I think so. Yeah.
Look, it's... Are we going too far with this? Look, we usually commentate on rugby league, and this is how deep the rugby league rabbit hole really goes.
Yeah.
Is rabbit hole a word? Probably not.
No, it's not.
Rabbit hole.
Rabbit
Could
hole.
be.
It could be.
Raven's hole.
Raven's hole? Rabbit hole? Maybe rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole.
Possibly.
That's how deep rugby league usually goes. So maybe we're just kind of projecting our own, I guess, sport onto the Chopperoos. But I would say that something needs to be happening because it feels like, and I don't want to make any outlandish claims, but it feels like Foster was the Conor McGregor of the UFC. You know how they came, he's bigger than the UFC.
Yeah.
He got them to where they were, but also he's his own business. Do you think that is an issue in the Chopperoos right now?
Look, I certainly think that if you're in the Chopperoos setup hierarchy from CEO right down to sort of, your rookie chopper, I think they're all a bit sort of unnerved by Dave and what Dave brings to the Chopperoos, the shadow he casts. And if you've seen photos of Dave, a shadow it is. He's a humongous man.
Big, thick boy.
So I can understand that maybe, there's a bit of nerves in there, but I think that,
At the end of the day, Dave's a good community man,
Yeah.
Tasmanian,
Dave's a
soul
good
of the
guy.
earth.
Yep.
I mean, he only wants what's best for chopping.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
He was chopping before the Chopperoos.
Exactly.
Exactly.
He predates the Chopperoos, but he wants what's best for chopping. And what's good for chopping right now is a strong, powerful, united Chopperoos. Because the only way I see the Olympic Games adopting the sport of wood chopping is if the Australian team is at least on side with their greatest ever chopper.
bring him
Dave
on as a
Foster.
coach.
Surely.
Like a Mal
Mate,
Meninga
I'd be getting him to bully the IOC, going, fucking come here.
Go in there with an axe.
Go in there with an axe, swing the fucking thing around and threaten them all and say, look, if it's a chop off you want, it's a chop off you'll get.
You'll
if
get
I
it
win, it's in the
Yeah.
Olympics because there's a couple of sports we could get rid of.
Plenty.
3-on-3 basketball comes to mind,
Yeah.
straight off the top of the dome.
Taekwondo.
Yep, beat it.
No disrespect.
Look, and I'm glad you brought that up, Eddy and Tom and Eddy. What are your thoughts on the Olympics? I want to be honest, I really haven't watched that much other than Instagram highlights. I will be honest. That's because I'm so balls deep in rugby league.
Because you're Australian.
Yeah.
Now, you guys claim that's un-Australian.
It is.
I swear, if Dave Foster was here, he'd say, take that Australian jersey off.
He's
I
saying
don't
it
think so.
now.
Yeah, he is.
No, I think he understands a man that is so deep in his craft that he has got blinkers on.
So what? But let me understand this though. When the nation swim for gold, like we were this morning, like we were yesterday, you don't want to turn on, tune in, watch
honestly,
the Aussie girls bloody rip and tear.
No,
4 minutes of your life.
No, I didn't.
Less than.
I don't have normal
I think the
TV.
100-meter backstroke.
You don't have TV.
No, I don't have normal. I don't even watch
you've
normal
got the
TV.
internet,
No,
seven.
but I don't know what I'm saying is I don't know the
do you live in a
schedule.
wood cabin?
I don't know. Yeah, I live with Dave in a wood cabin. We chop things
but
together.
you stream on KO all the time, correct?
Is it on KO?
But you can stream on 7 Plus. Same
Okay.
thing.
I honestly don't even know the
Because you don't love your country. That's why.
I'm so balls deep in rugby league, constantly following the game, that unfortunately I've made an error and missed a few things.
You've missed a lot.
Why do you hate Australian gold medals?
What is it?
I love Australian gold medals.
Doesn't
I
seem
do.
like it because you've missed a couple.
Look, I feel like that. You know,
It's 3 at least. I think is it 4? 3. I think you missed 3.
the young lady, she won the first gold medal.
The young lady. Yes. Ariarne Titmus.
Titmus.
400 metres.
And
Against arguably the greatest female swimmer of all time, Ledecky, came over the top of her in the last 50 metres.
Well, apologies, I'm not deep into the swimming game.
I wasn't 3 days ago, Denon.
Either was I. We're not aficionados.
Please. I'm not fucking, is it FINA? I'm not a FINA representative.
No.
It sounds like it.
I know,
You've
but
done your
that's all it
research.
takes.
I mean,
It
you've
takes 3
Diored.
days.
You've definitely Diored. I'll give you
But
that.
if there's Australian gold around, we'll sniff it out.
Okay, so you're deep into specific sports though, but there are some sports that you don't like. What sports are those?
Well, Taekwondo firstly comes to mind because it's just there's nothing about it that's interesting, with the greatest respect. Taekwondo, I'm sure, is a discipline, a lot of respect for. I could have someone kick my head off, right?
Yeah, it is fucking.
But as an Olympic sport, as we said on the podcast, it's just some guy that stands on his back foot and just like whips his fucking front leg around. It's like a very loose whipping front leg sort of a sport. Nothing really happens.
Yeah, it didn't really take me. And then 3-on-3 basketball.
That's a load of shit.
That's
when you've got
ridiculous.
5-on-5 basketball, seems like a bit of a fucking cop-out, don't
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah.
Look,
Like, they're not even trying to really... Like, well, we'll take 2 blokes off and we'll make it half court. And then, that'll be the sport.
that is bizarre. They do need to, I guess, have a look at some of those sports because the 3-on-3 basketball is
It's
there.
ridiculous.
Like,
It's like
come
having
on.
well, you may as well do a 50-metre sprint. Oh, no, we're just going to shave 50 metres off the fucking
See,
thing.
I wouldn't mind a 50-metre sprint because
Well,
you
it'd
get your
be
little
better.
whippets in there. Yeah,
It'd be better.
because then you get your little whippets that are good first 10-metre runners. They don't have the good top speed because some people, they They're bad starters. They lose the first 20 or even 50. And when they hit the top speed, they go all right. But sometimes their top speed doesn't translate to 200 metres. Used to be a runner. You also know that. Used to be a runner yourself.
No, I get it.
Mate, I've done a sub 12, so I mean, let's not fucking exclude me from the conversation.
You do a sub 12?
Yeah, it's sub 12.
It's the punters. The punters sub 10.
Yeah.
The punters sub... you know what? I'll call...
The punters sub 10 is a sub...
Is a sub 12.
Yeah, I can pay that. When did you do sub 12?
In year 12.
Electric or hand timing? It's hand timing.
Hand timing. Yeah, school.
Okay, so that's really not official.
Well, no, it's absolutely official.
Oh, you're not ratifying it?
I'm sorry.
You don't-
Punters, it's handheld is the only way the punter measures anything.
No.
When
It
am
is
I in a
not
position to be in an
ratified.
electric
Hand timing is not ratified. It's electric timing.
Shit.
What are your thoughts?
He's a
Look,
hand timer as well. He knows he is.
Let me say this. It's all about the man who controls the equipment.
Yes.
Now, if you know your hand timing and you know it well, you know to look for the smoke, not the sound. That's your starting point. So if you've got someone that knows what they're doing, someone who's, who's done a couple of events, a couple of meetings and knows what they're doing, been around, officiated Little A's for 5-10 years, I'd say.
I tell you what,
If you've got that sort of operator behind the stopwatch, then I'm fine with that. That's
Okay.
fine. That's play on.
So, but there's still, it's not ratified then because you don't know whether that was the case.
What I'd say this: are you telling me that all the records pre-electronic timing, we're just going to throw them in the bin?
No, I'm just going to say that
Thank you.
now that we have the technology, and we had the technology when he ran that race.
Do you reckon at one point in time I'm the quickest man alive based on my sub 12 time, or have I never been the quickest human that's ever lived? Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I would say
Never.
Yeah,
I'd say that too.
At no point.
it's not. It's just not quick enough. It's not sharp enough, Tom.
It's not.
It's not sharp
Nah.
enough.
And I scraped into the 11s. I don't think it was any.
I mean, if you go back to the first Olympics, 1896, Matt might be able to help us here. I think the winning time was high 10s. So it's not good enough.
Yeah. I'm close though. I'm in the
The
race.
sub 12s, no, it's 1 second. That's fucking 10
that's a
meters.
lifetime.
Yeah,
That's a
but I haven't
lifetime.
even trained. Think about that.
You were training at the time.
No, I was.
You
I
did
was.
summer
Yeah,
athletics.
you're not
and
running
with
sub 12s without a little bit of running around. You can't.
No, I was
Okay.
fit.
Okay.
Anyway, listen, a punter's sub 10 is a sub 12.
Let us know in the comments section, is hand timing official?
It's not
or is
fair
electoral?
because you were an actual fucking runner. You probably did a sub 10. I mean, a sub 11.
If I did a sub 10, I wouldn't be here.
You did a sub 11?
Me and fucking Sherbo.
Okay, so
we
you
wouldn't
haven't
be
done
running next to each other. That's
So
fucking
you wouldn't
sure.
have done a sub 11.
Hey?
You wouldn't have done a sub 11.
10-7.
Okay, there you
You've
go.
done a 10-7.
Yes.
That's pretty quick.
That's pretty quick.
Well,
That's not that quick.
I mean, it is for a fucking
You're,
great
but you're a
tenor.
professional
You're a
athlete.
professional athlete.
That was in
Your metric is sub 10. Ours is sub 12,
So you're
which we've both
beating
done.
that was
by
in
like a
grade. That was in
second.
grade 10 or 11.
about a second. If I got like 11 something, he got 10 something.
I think I got like 11-8.
Yeah, mine was a high 11.
Look, I'm paying it. I'm just saying, hand timing can be quite. It's a dramatic.
No.
On either edge,
Hand
you know?
timing's legit. Always.
And I'm just not sure whether that is official.
The best hand times in the world can get it down to 100th.
Yeah.
1/100th.
I tell you what,
Denon, what did you say you were? What time did you run?
10-7,
That would have been, you would have set the world record in 1891.
1891.
Yeah.
There you go. So you would have been
Thank
the
you.
fastest man on the planet once.
Thank you. Not really, because like when I did it, there was faster people. You
Yeah,
know
but
what
I just mean like if you'd existed in that moment in time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Well,
there would have been.
if we took you far enough back to single-celled organisms,
There you go.
I think you're a fucking
I'm
winner.
a fucking chance then, aren't I?
You're a look.
I'm a real chance.
a
you're
real
looking.
chance. You'd be paying $1.20, I reckon.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm still not prepared to give it to him.
No. You wouldn't want
The
to put
betting would
any-
stay
Those
open.
single-cells could move. Oh, fuck yeah.
They went through a fucking lot to get to the next cell.
Oh,
Correct. Yeah, I've never
multi-cell.
I've never done any.
the multi-cell.
A lot of people are probably sitting there going, what the fuck are they talking about? We're talking about the origins of life. That's what you come here for. Not the origins of life, apologies. The origins of human life, really.
Yes. Well,
Well,
that
Well,
is
the
life.
origin of
Well,
life
the
that's-
transition from single-cell to multi-cell, Denon, yes.
is the origin of all life.
Yes.
The origin of multi-celled life, which is you and I.
Exactly, that's what I mean,
Yes.
though. But the single cell is considered life, so it
Yes,
wouldn't be
it
the
is.
origin of life. So we're talking about the beginning of human
Multi-celled life, yes.
Multi-cell life. Apologies. Well, actually, I shouldn't apologise because I was right. But yeah, that's what you come here for. We
That's
give you
what you
deep
come here
analysis. Could Tom beat a single cell
Organism in a
getting
sprint.
to his other cell?
Yeah.
Could he beat them? We don't know. Paying $1.20. Let us know if you take the bets.
Yeah. That's in the comments if you take that.
Yeah, would you take that bet? I mean, it's not money for jam, I'll tell you that.
It's not a guarantee.
It's not a value
It's not a
bet.
fait accompli. No.
It's definitely not
There's
a
no
value
value
bet.
in it.
Certainly
and
not
it's-
now, anyway. Like if you're taking me at 32, I'd be careful. But if you're taking me at 18,
Look, if you get 20 metres in, the knees go,
yeah,
you come down, you're fucked. Your knees are popped out. You don't
There's every
finish the
chance that
race.
happens.
Then the single cell gets the goal.
exactly. I blow out a calf muscle.
Well,
What can
anyway.
go wrong?
So a few weeks ago, we were speaking about great sporting names. And last night, someone tweeted, so the Australian women's softball team is called Aussie Spirit. And let's be honest, look, it's sweet, it's nice, but it's also not very good, Aussie Spirit. But
It's
it
not
is
good.
sweet. It's sweet.
Sweet as in like a sweet, like cute sweet?
No, like
Or
it's sweet,
cool?
like Aussie Spirit, like it's kind, it's
lame,
caring.
with the greatest respect.
Well,
it's
okay.
Care Bears, you know what I
I
mean?
can see where they were going with it. You know what I mean? Anyway,
yeah.
so last night...
Trying to harness the Aussie spirit.
Yeah, I can see where they're going with it.
Yeah, right.
They were, I can understand their thought
I'd
process.
prefer if they were called Aussie Ticker.
That would be good.
The
That would be really
tickers.
The Tickers, Aussie Ticker.
So anyway, there was a lot of people thinking along your train of thought. Last night, someone tweeted, change it to the Dingeroos. And the hashtag gained a lot of traction. Eventually, the official Aussie softball team changed their hashtag to Dingeroos and have been calling themselves the Dingeroos.
Okay,
Dingeroos,
Dingeroos. Dinger.
As in like hit a
Dingeroos.
dinger.
Apologies, Dingeroos. I was thinking dingers.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Hitting a dinger. I wasn't thinking any other dingers.
No. So they changed it to
Dingeroos.
Dingeroos.
Yeah, like-
it got traction.
It
Well,
got traction.
I think even the social media team's a little bit like, what are we expected to do with this name?
As in with
The Aussie spirit.
Yeah, it's hard
And
to...
the moment someone throws out the Dingeroos, which is fucking tremendous, then
It is
they've run with
tremendous.
it.
yeah.
Hit a few dingers.
Oh, they lost to Mexico last night. It's
But so what?
disappointing.
They've changed their name mid
Well,
Olympics.
I guess the people have changed the name, but I don't think it's official yet. Unfortunately, the Dingeroos lost to Mexico last night. Actually ended... Mexico beat us. Hey, they can hit them over in Mexico.
they can. Mexico.
They can. Well, they love it, mate.
They love it over there. So,
softball, baseball.
Yeah,
softball-
a lot of baseball players come out
Yeah.
of Mexico, and obviously that translates to the softball players.
softball.
You know, I was watching the softball last night because I love my country and I was supporting the girls. The dingers, they underarm pitch it
it's a fair...
over 100 kilometres an hour.
It is
I
fair.
was,
Really?
100%. I was astonished. I was like, you've got to be kidding.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to ever hit
Big
your
wind
ball on
up,
them.
boom.
I've played softball before. Much harder than T-ball, where it's just sitting there and you can.
Well, T-balls for bloody
T-ball.
kids.
Oh, I was a kid, thankfully. But
Yeah.
T-ball's
Thankfully.
cheating.
Thankfully.
T-ball's cheating.
T-ball is cheating.
Softball's tough. 100 Ks. I didn't realize I could do that.
108, I think, one of the pitchers got it up to.
That's fucking good.
I thought that was bloody impressive.
But we have to, because I do love my country, I want to pay respects to one of our, an Olympic campaign that is truly great. Ending the career of one of our greatest ever softball players, Stacey Porter. 19 years, 446 games for the Dingeroos, 6 world championships and 3 Olympic games.
So we're good at softball. We've won world championships.
Yeah, Stacey Porter could be the...
Or did she go to 6 world championships?
We won the silver in Athens and the bronze in Beijing.
So we go good.
We're there.
We go all right.
So Stacey Porter, respect to you. Congratulations on a
100%.
fantastic career.
Is she the Cam Smith of... Look at all those awards. She the Cam Smith of the Dingeroos, of Aussie softball?
I think those are awards for Roger Tuivasa-Sheck.
Didn't see his name
Look,
above there.
it's easy to get Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and Stacey Porter.
2013
stuff.
Premiership, 2018 Dally M Player of the Year.
195 NRL games should have given it away.
It
but,
should have.
You know,
But you look at that. Two of us have checked 195 NRL games. Stacey
played-
Porter's 446 for the Dingeroos.
Yeah.
So if
They're
anything,
numbers.
She's shitloads better than Roger, with the greatest respect. Roger's licking her boots.
look, I thought
He's not near her boots,
No,
bro.
he's not.
if I'm being honest, I thought when it said segment 2, RTS goes home, and then under it had his awards,
that's good.
I thought that would indicate that we were talking about something
huge
other than
point.
Stacey Porter.
I'd make that bold moving forward just so that I can see clear fucking delineations between segments. Because now
Maybe
it's
even
just writing.
I'd even color code for Tom.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I need really obvious fucking...
So you're saying, as a host, I've actually let you down.
You've let me down. Yeah.
Wow.
This is a mistake on your part, not me. I refuse to apologise.
And rightly.
Yeah, right.
And you know what? It's all part of your genius, because that's a great transition, Tom. That's a great transition.
Yeah, there you go.
RTS has decided to, I guess, the end of his career, NRL career at least for now, This week, now he got a pretty bad... When he got his head knock, I was like, wow, I don't want to see him playing any footy for at least fucking 3 weeks. Like, it was out like a light. Whenever you see a player like that, you don't want to... If you see them next week, that's bad. Like, I fucking... Like,
it's
honestly...
just crazy that that's where we've got to now with that, though. Because it's like... You used to see him get that happen in a game and they'd keep playing. 100%. Now it's like, it's just gotten to a point, obviously it's good that it has, but just when you see that and you're like, holy shit, it's actually like stomach churning.
100%, absolutely.
You used to be so desensitized to it
You
before.
used to, like, when it would, like, I would get concussed or knocked out or whatever, if you went off, you were soft. And that wasn't from a place of like, we just didn't know.
No.
We just didn't know. And it was all about, just push through the pain. But now, whenever I see a head knock, even little ones, like even ones where they're just like a little bit dazed and then they go, I'm like, oh, fuck.
Like just like, like squeezing their eyes and like, oh, you're like, oh, dude, I think you've just had your fucking bell rung.
100%.
Yeah, they're not nice.
So, mate, it just shows you sport is a cruel, cruel game. To think that a guy like RTS, who has delivered so much for New Zealand Rugby League that constantly has to compete with New Zealand Rugby Union, he's the kind of guy that gets young Kiwi boys and girls to play the game. And to think that this is the way he goes out, it's sad, but also we've got to celebrate what he's been doing.
Is he not playing this weekend?
No, he's gone home because
I
the bubble was going to. So the travel between New Zealand and Australia, it's getting closed for 8 weeks minimum.
Yeah.
And so if he didn't go home now, he'd have to wait 8 weeks.
I thought he was
Possibly
playing
longer.
one final game and that was going to
possibly
be
longer,
it.
yeah.
Right.
No. And
so he's gone.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's done, which is so sad because you would have hoped like
Goes home.
and he's with Union now.
I know that's what it says, but I was of the
You were thinking the
understanding-
Warriors were still at home.
No, I thought that he was going home after one more game. I thought he was playing this weekend, then it was like, cheerio.
Okay.
Should have put that in bold.
So the part where I said he got tackled and he was not going to play for 3 weeks.
I heard that as well. I heard it all, but in the back of my mind, I'd heard somewhere else that he was playing, and that overrode any new information that I was taking on. So I will apologise for that, because that was a lack of listening on my part.
It's a great start. That's what we're here for, to give you deep analysis into the game of rugby league and other sports.
Wait, Roger's going home?
I guess just before we move on to Roger, though, I thought it was incredible to see, when she won that medal, apologies, I've got the swimmer's name, her coach
Ariarne.
like going crazy.
Yes.
Just to celebrate that moment, that was incredible.
He went absolutely fucking mental, and it's now like he's trending worldwide, or at least he was.
He humped the shit out of that glass, and
with good reason.
it was one of the best things I've ever seen.
100%. Absolutely. And
He understood the circumstances, and he understood that the only appropriate celebration was going to be a full thrust to the hips. He knew it.
He held himself back. If he'd really let go, he would have smashed that.
Well, he said, listen, it's been building through the trials. It was building through the heats. It was building, and then obviously when she goes over the top of Ledecky in the final 50, you just got to let it out.
So for people like myself that don't know much about the swimming,
Hate
can
the
you
nation.
Don't hate the nation, love the nation. Well, can you explain, I guess, the feat that she did achieve in the sense of like her winning that against the world's best or one of the best ever? Did you say?
She's getting to the point now. She's only like 24, I think, Ledecky, but like she's kind of close to consensus greatest female swimmer of all time.
And where's she from?
She's US.
US. Yep.
Some dribbler actually wrote a big fucking thing on the page the other day, but I can't remember what her stats were.
Well, basically, so Ledecky had never been defeated at the Olympics
in an individual event.
In an individual event, she is basically a middle distance swimmer. So like 200, she goes from 200 meters up, but her strengths are 4, 8, 15. So I think when the coach took Titmus on, she was like 14 seconds or 16 seconds behind Ledecky's time at that point.
Fuck.
And they've had to chip away at it over the years and like...
14 seconds.
And get to a point where, as this dribbler on our Facebook group was explaining, like Ledecky should have been able to get stronger in the back half of the race because of her long distance like nous.
Yep.
Whereas Titmus rolled out quicker last 200 meters than her and like came over the top of it. It was fucking beautiful.
So like in her own best part of the race.
She beat her at her own game.
Wow. So Titmus, how old is Titmus?
20.
That's incredible. So congratulations to her. I mean, what I love is
another Tasmanian. They're ripping and tearing.
Did you see as well the Aussie Keely McCowan? She's
swearing after the thing of that? Was that the...
Yeah, today. So she's a Queenslander from Caboolture.
Yeah.
She won the 100-metre backstroke.
Yeah.
And then they've been interviewed and they were like, oh, yeah, so What do you want to say back to your mum and your sister back in Australia? And she's going, fuck yeah, oh shit.
That's sick. So she won our second gold medal?
No.
Third, because the girls won the
Third
4x100.
Okay, so the girls are killing it over there for us.
Yeah.
The Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls.
Our
Let's
Golden
go.
Girls always deliver.
Golden Girls always go gold.
Always go gold. Jess Fox, she's got the Canuck slalom in like 20 minutes. She's another gold medal chance.
Wow. The
Could be
girls,
4 golds from the girls.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Thank you so much for representing our great country that I do love quite a lot. Patriotic person myself.
Good to have you back on board. You're gonna drown yourself in Olympics now, I think. And rightfully so.
No, I'm working too hard to provide rugby league content for the punter and the dribbler. Who is going to provide it for you if I'm concentrating on the Olympic sports?
I think you can do both. I think I don't
Work
Holy
harder.
fuck.
Work harder. Get
work
up earlier, go to bed later, fucking pound it out, mate.
Yeah. Sleeps for pussies.
No.
Especially during the Olympics.
That's awesome. What an incredible achievement at 20 years old. Yeah, now on to RTS. Where do you rate him? Obviously, he's one of the best fullbacks we've seen. But we've got Benji Marshall, we've got Stacey Jones, we've got Ruben Ricky. He is the first New Zealand Warrior to ever win a Dally M. Where do you rate him in greatest ever New Zealand players?
I think skills-wise the greatest, but maybe not impact on the game. But even you could say impact on the game as well. But like skills-wise, or like raw skill-wise, you know what I mean?
What, Benji Marshall?
Yeah, but like Benji doesn't have the physique and so Benji had like phenomenal ball skills, but Roger seems to have, obviously doesn't have Benji ball skills, but like if you were sort of building a player, I feel like Roger is more complete as like a specimen of rugby league.
Like a football player?
Yeah.
Like an athlete,
Yeah, athlete
like an
slash
athlete.
football player.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be the
He
best,
doesn't
the
have
greatest
the
Kiwi
aura of Stacey Jones, though, for me. When I think of New Zealand Kiwi players, I think of Stacey and Benji more than I think of RTS.
Yeah. I had the absolute honour to play with Stacey Jones. He came out of retirement. Played really shit, so I didn't really honour him that well. But I was on the field at the same time he was.
That's a flex.
And we did speak to each other a few times.
Did you? Yeah, right.
What's he
Just good.
like?
Look, he said, thanks for honouring me. That's what he said to me.
Well,
Then he never spoke to me again.
he's a gentleman.
Then I got dropped.
Yeah.
No, he's a legend. He's a fucking legend. I would have to say, if he had stayed in rugby league and did a deep finals push with the Warriors, that would have locked him in as greatest ever. I just think that, Stacey and Benji at the West Tigers led their teams. Stacey led them deep into the finals. You know what I
Did he
mean?
take him to a grand final?
Grand final?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Deep into the finals, as in
right.
like grand final. Deep in the finals, not like fucking second week or whatever.
Deep doesn't sound like the grand final.
Apologies.
Deep sounds like the prelim.
prelim.
Okay, fair enough. So I mean, take him to the grand final. Prelim, obviously not.
Yeah.
Stacey took the Warriors, and they were a genuine, threat during that period to a grand final. Benji took the Tigers to win a grand final. That's where it's like, oh fuck! Like Stacey took the Warriors and New Zealand side to the grand final. That's where I'm like, just like if RTS had have stayed and got them to a grand final, or even like a few years of prelims. You know what I mean? Like consistent Warriors were they were a scary team to play.
Yeah.
Then I would have probably said greatest ever. But I think that just because of the fact that the Warriors still struggled, even though we got the only Dally M ever for a Warriors player, I would probably put him at, second or third greatest of all time, with Stacey at number 1, probably, and Benji at number 2, but you could interchange them. Yeah.
He went over there under so much fanfare. Remember when he left the Roosters and they got a couple of good signings
Isaac Luke.
They got Isaac Luke and then
Sean Johnson was
Sean
there.
Johnson, that's right. And then people were like, holy shit, that's a fucking elite spine. They never really went on with anything.
Never is though, the
But they made it,
Warriors,
but they have made grand finals. Do you know what I mean? They have made 2 grand finals, so they sometimes go on with it.
And I can't.
No, it's actually, I've actually done a bit of
Are they
research
flash
into
in
this.
the pan?
Done a bit of research in this. They actually, before 2013, do you all this, please,
11
Matt?
when they played Manly.
Yeah, well, 11 or whatever. But before 2013, they'd actually, they'd been the third most successful club in the NRL.
What?
Beaten by only the Broncos and Storm, I think. They were right up the top. Please Google that. But I'm 99% sure. And then it's only been the last 5 years or whatever where they've been fuck, you just don't know.
So-
you got something there, Matt?
So before 2013,
Google the myth
made
of
what?
the Warriors.
When did they make their first grand final? 2002?
yeah,
Yeah.
against the Roosters,
Yeah.
got done. That's fucking crazy. I wouldn't have thought that at all. My general perception, obviously not a well-informed one, it's purely vibe. You
got it?
The Warriors suck.
Yeah, I'll give you like the run from 2000. So they went 2001 qualifying final, 2002 grand final, 2003 prelim, 2007 semi-final, 2008 prelim, 2010 qualifying final, 2011 grand final.
Wow.
Yep.
That is a lot better than you give them credit for, isn't it?
Exactly.
Is it just when they're not in those ones, they're like coming 14th and shit? That's more, I think, maybe where it is. And I could still be wrong even with this sort of opinion or thought
here we
process,
go.
But like,
I feel like they're always sort of like a top 8 chance. They're there-ish about, and they sort of hum around.
And then
8,
they fall
9,
out.
8, 9, 10, 11.
So between 2001 and
perception.
2011, they cracked the code. During this period, they reached the final 7 times. 2001, 2, 3, 7, 8, 10, 11. That was a better record than the Roosters, the Sea Eagles, Bulldogs, Dragons and Eels,
shit.
among other storied clubs. It was a mark that was only bettered by 2 clubs, the perennial consistent Storm and the powerhouse Broncos.
Wow.
Crazy between 2000, that's 2000 and 2011.
That is crazy.
Unfortunately, that was 10 years ago.
Oh,
now,
absolutely. I'm
you
with
know?
that.
And the
Yes.
last 10 years haven't been particularly kind.
But they
to the
know
Warriors.
success as a club. I think the myth is that like, oh, the Warriors, that's
They're
just the
just
way they've
losers.
been. Yeah. Well, not
yeah.
losers, inconsistent.
Sorry. That's the way I see it.
Inconsistent. Yeah, I see them as inconsistent.
Yeah.
But rocks or diamonds, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes they turn up to play and they fucking rip and tear, and then other times they just, drop a lot of footy.
Yeah.
Nothing comes together.
That's crazy.
I've always had a very soft spot for the Warriors.
Well, we're Kiwis, half Kiwi.
We are half Kiwi, which we roll out when we need to.
Well, when it suits. It's
When
always
it
good to
suits.
have in the back pocket.
But always had a soft spot for them.
Yeah.
I like the way they play their footy.
They play good, hard, honest rugby league with some flair.
With flair. Flair's good for the eyeballs, Tom.
And, did it break my heart a little bit that we dusted them in 2011? Not even a little bit.
No,
But
I didn't shed any tears.
I didn't shed any tears, but I was like, if not us, then them.
But
I prefer it to be
I
us.
felt worse for them than I would have had we, say, beat the Eels, Tom.
I wouldn't have given a shit if we beat the Eels.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
zero shits.
No.
I think it's the
I
opposite.
care enough about betting the Warriors that I'm bringing it up, 10 years later.
Yeah, exactly. But if it's the Eels, don't give a fuck.
Okay. I mean, well,
Do you get it, Denon?
I don't have that much hate for the Eels, to be honest. I actually like them as a club, even.
I like their players.
Yeah.
Let's say that. We like
We've
their
said
players.
it many times. Love their players.
Hate the club.
But I do want to see them succeed. Obviously, I want the Broncos to succeed the most, but
Which club do you hate? Like, as a rugby league fan, hate. Don't be like, oh, I don't know. Like, if you would have hated
when
club.
I played, I hated the Storm the most because
Yeah.
they were the
Fucking good.
dirtiest with the wrestle. They brought the wrestle in
Oh, okay.
before the refs knew what the wrestle was.
Right.
And so we were walking off with our fucking necks and just constantly like, this is bullshit. Like, we're getting guillotined out there.
Yeah.
And the refs don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
And so we got into a semi-final 2008. And Wayne literally sat in front of all. This is one of the. Cameron Smith says it's one of the greatest games he's ever played in at Suncorp Stadium. And before the game, Wayne Bennett sits in front of all of us and he says, if they crank your neck, guillotine you, do any of that stuff once, I don't care if you get up and start swinging. I'll back you to the days. I don't care if you get sent off. We have to sort it ourselves because the refs aren't going to sort it. And yet when you watch the game, there was like 2 or 3 fucking brouhahas because we were just like, fuck it. You want to
Back
wrestle?
when you
we'll
could
start swinging.
brouhaha.
When you could brouhaha.
brouhaha.
Yeah.
Those
And it
were
was
the
a
days.
great game. We
Great
ended up
days.
losing on the buzzer.
I remember that.
We had the game dominated. I remember playing.
GI scored it, eh?
GI scored, and we dropped the ball. So we had the game in the bag.
Yeah.
All we had to do was complete the set and kick the ball, and someone dropped it on the second tackle.
Who?
Not gonna say.
I thought you were forgetting. I was just trying to check.
No, I haven't forgotten. Trust me, I haven't forgotten. But yeah, the whole game we were just so much better than them. We had the game in control. I remember being out there thinking like, we have these guys, we have their number. And we would have played the Sea Eagles.
Well,
in
it's
that grand
actually
final.
lucky you lost.
Yeah, because you would have been.
How would you
we
be
had
able
the
to sit here
team.
in front of us if you got 70 put on you in the grand final?
No, we had the team to challenge Manly that year. Absolutely.
Just not the team to challenge the people that lost to Manly.
They were literally, we were one error away.
Okay, so maybe you're an error away from winning.
That's why.
It was still an error that decided.
but that's
it. So
why
you would have lost 42-0, 38-0.
No, but that's why the Storm lost because we took it all out of them.
Okay.
By 40-0.
Oh,
Because
right.
they played their grand final against us.
Yeah, okay.
And then they came out, were all battered, bruised because we touched them up, but lost. But yeah, anyway, Roger Tuivasa check, 195 in a row games.
Fucking touched them up, all right.
We fucked them, beat them so bad they beat us.
I love that we're talking about Roger's career and it gets to us fucking winning the grand final in 2008.
We got there.
40-0.
We got there.
Oh, shit.
195 NRL games, 20 tests for New Zealand, 2013 Premiership, 2018 Dally M Player of the Year, 2013 Dally M Winger of the Year, 15 and 18 Dally M Fullback of the Year, Roosters 2012 to 15, Warriors 2017, 2021.
How old is he?
I think he's like 27.
Fuck, man.
27?
He's fit.
28.
28. He's fit a lot into that career. Like that's
Fucking
a good. That's a full career's
We're
worth
yet to
of
get going, Tom.
achievements.
You know what I mean? Fucking hell.
Now, on to... Oi, Dennis. Be quiet, bro. It's a fucking podcast going on, bros.
No, he's got a Zoom call he's got to get to.
He did.
Skyping a mate overseas.
Hey, bro, what have you been doing on the weekend?
Hey, rah.
It's not just the biggest sport podcast in the country going on right now. Fucking who gives a fuck? Six again. So, a few weeks ago I was talking about the six again, and I was like, not all six agains are equal. Because like if you give it away on the first one, you only get one extra tackle. You give it away on the fifth one, you get 6 extra tackles or whatever. So there's an article that was written, I guess today from today or yesterday, League Eye Test, the Rugby League Eye Test. So I assume that the name is about when you're seeing something, is it actually true?
I've seen him on Twitter. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So
statsy shit.
So it basically backed up what we're talking about. On average, when a team gives away a six again, they're only actually giving away 2.3 tackles. As Andrew Johns always says, if the defence wins the first couple of tackles, you win the whole set. So it's clearly what teams are doing. They're going, look, it's actually misleading to call it the six again penalty. It should really be called the 2 tackles penalty.
Yeah, right.
2.3.
2.3, if you want to be technical. I mean, I'm
There's
thinking
no harm in
marketing.
being accurate, Dennis.
Yeah, I'm just thinking marketing though. It's much harder to push that to the punter, the 2.3 tackle again.
I agree with both of you here. I'm right down the line.
A third of six agains are given away on tackle 0 or 1. Another 30% is given away on tackle 2. So I'd say that's 2/3, I'd assume. So 2/3 of tackle are given away on tackle 2 or less. Therefore, the 2/3, six agains. Graham Annesley saw the trend and publicly came out and threatened more sin bins. Nothing has changed though. It's been between 2.1 and 2.3 range all year. Most 0 and 1 six agains are inside the 40. Most tackle 2 is inside the 20 to 50 metre range. So 2/3 of set restarts are mostly inside the 50. So the 50 of the other team, not your own team. Panthers, Storm, Eels, South are among the top 7 teams to give away six agains in the earliest of the tackle count.
Fuck, it doesn't take them long, does it?
They love
It
it.
Just to
doesn't.
work it
It
out
doesn't
and go,
take him long
"Alright,
to
that's what
work
we
it
do."
out. And poor old Graham's like, "We're gonna fucking sin bin you if you do it." It's like, bruh, you're not more. You think you're clever.
He's
but
like
you're
a
not
prison,
as clever.
He's a prison
as
warden who's trying to
What you think you're more clever than Trent Robinson and Craig Bellamy, bro?
No,
You're
mate.
not.
Yeah,
They're
they're the
hiding
goats.
You're not,
shanks
mate.
everywhere, and
You're
you're the prison
not,
warden
mate.
coming here
They
trying
literally
to take away
have.
their shit.
They go to Sydney Uni and Melbourne Uni, if there's a uni, and take mathematicians, chain them to fucking computers, and just
Yeah.
and they spit it out, and they go, "Here you go, Bellamy. Here's
Give
how you
me
fucking
data, bro,
Yeah.
or you're not
Get-
getting fed.
Get over here and
Yeah.
give me some data. Bang.
Yeah, Graham doesn't know who he's up against, mate.
No, poor old
And
Graham.
so the irony is that to combat that, you would say, well, let's give the penalty away early in the tackle count. But so you're actually like bringing in the old rule. You know what I mean? The old rule was give a fucking penalty
Give a
away.
penalty away,
Because
yeah.
you get the 20 to 30 metres.
What about this? If it's in, if you
already
give,
too confusing.
No, if you
Yeah.
give away a penalty in
your own half, first
your own
two tackles?
half, yeah, then it's
That's the thing though, but they found that like even they would still give them away anyway. You know what I mean? Because like it's only 2 tackles. So like let's say we kick, we get 30 metres.
but in your own half,
You're giving away field advantage.
it's
like
you
field-
know.
Yeah, but once they get over it, if you win those first 2 tackles, you basically win the set, regardless of where you are on the field. Like I know what you're saying, like you're in their half, therefore you're attacking footy. But let's say you go, all right, well, we'll let them kick out. They can't really kick out again. So if you give that penalty away again on that first tackle and slow it down
It's kinda
crazy,
back to exactly
it's kind
where
of
it
back
was.
to exactly where you were. You're
further
just
down the field.
Yeah, you're at the 50 metre mark instead of the 20 metre mark. You know what I mean? And so then it goes, all right, we'll give another penalty away. It's like, well, okay, you're just literally back to the old rules then. You're giving penalties away. So it's interesting that we've kind of like, this is the monster that's been created.
Yeah. It's now like, how the fuck do we stop this thing? It's getting away from us and it's snowballing. What if we create like a cannon that allows you to kick the ball even further down the field? So it's actually more like an 80-metre penalty than a fucking 20-metre penalty.
What if we kill a guy each time he gives a 6 again away?
Every time we've got to murder one of your players every time they give away a penalty?
Seems harsh, but it's effective. Look, we've trialled it. We've trialled it in New South Wales Cup, and the data's looking good.
Yeah. There's only been 3-4 guys killed a game.
And then like Vlandis comes out in 6 months. He's like, I probably should have spoken to the players before putting in the rule that we kill them if they give away 6 again.
And then you'd be like, there'd be like a new breed of player called the Expendables, whereas like every team has a couple of blokes that they're prepared to shoot.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, mate, we need you to go and do this for us. You're like a kamikaze pilot. We need you to go and hold this guy down.
He's on $1 million a game.
Yeah,
he's on danger money.
Danger money. Yeah, if you can get away with it, great. But if you can't, obviously, you know what happens.
And he just says shit. He can't even play footy. He's shit, and he just goes up, lays on.
He's got big nuts. He's prepared to.
Get the bloody tarpaulin around him on the field.
Well, he cares about the 2 points.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about team man. That's a team player.
That is a team man.
You're willing to die over a 6 again. That's a guy you want at your club.
That's a guy you want beside you in the trenches.
You can build culture around that.
Fucking oath you can. 100%.
We'll remember him, you know what I mean? We'll tell his story. We'll hang his picture up in the clubhouse.
Does each player get a statue at that? Or is like,
they don't get a statue. Come on.
He literally died for his team.
Yeah,
but he signed up for it.
And he was compensated.
He was compensated.
Him and his family were compensated.
Yeah. And he's got a picture hanging in the club, in the clubhouse,
above the dunnies.
The urinal, the trough.
Yeah.
It is interesting when the boys get on Mad Monday, they bring the pictures out, they get pissed, they kiss them, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's interesting to see what they do about this because clubs have just gone, fuck it, we'll give an extra 1 tackle away. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, like who gives a fuck?
So then, and the disadvantage to the attacking team is just not being able to get a roll on.
Yeah, like, okay, so let's say we fully slow it down. So everyone's set, everyone's ready to go, and then they just shoot off the line the second tackle. The guy running the ball in the second tackle is getting dominated, and then that's a dominant tackle, and then fucking before you know it, you're at your third tackle, you're like, oh, fuck, we've only made 5 meters, and then it's like sometimes you know when you see a set, and by the second tackle, you're like, we're not going to make 10 meters. And then someone... maybe once every 10 sets, someone does a great run and you're like, holy shit, what a fucking great run. But it doesn't happen every set. So it is interesting to see what they do to combat that. Other big topics, To'o out for 6 weeks with an ankle injury, gets surgery. Wow, when the Panthers last year, this is where they talk about everything has to happen right to win a premiership. Now, I'm not saying Panthers can't win a premiership at all, not even close to that. What I'm saying is last year they had 0 injuries essentially to any of their key players. And so like that's when, if they don't win a premiership in the next few years, they'll be looking back on last year going, that was the fucking year.
That was the year.
You know, we had no injuries, whereas this year they've had Cleary, they've had Luai, they've had To'o.
The first half at the start of the season.
Coruscant.
Yeah, but the first half of their season seemed like they were still pretty...
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Smooth,
dude,
right?
no, the first half of the year's been smooth as shit, but then now it's like, oh.
But that was like, they must have been worried at the club,
thinking about
internally
being
like, it's fucking a year and a half with basically no injuries.
Surely
Jesus, this isn't
6
good.
weeks he's out. Is Cleary back? No, so Cleary's not
He's
back.
like first week of the finals, isn't he, Cleary?
Someone said he was this week. I don't know who I'm getting my
Where are you getting your oil
I
from,
don't know, mate. The bin.
I think he's at least three weeks away or so. Again, but you just don't know with technology today. Like 6 week injuries back in the day, they're like fucking 3 week injuries because like they've got these like, for example, like leg injuries. Back in the day, you just couldn't run on them. Whereas now they've got these treadmills that surround you, I think, in air or water, and so they take up 70% or 80%. You can choose on the treadmill. You can go like, I want you to take 90% of my body weight, so you can run. So you can still do the motion of running, but it's on lighter,
crazy,
thingo. So you're seeing players that 12-week injuries are turning into 6 week because they're being able to rehab with science is just fucking it. Like even little things like when I was coming through, we had basically a bins, filled them with ice, and we would get in the bins. That's how our recovery.
And you guys
would
are the
go.
biggest club in the fucking comp.
Yeah, and that was all clubs. And whereas now, I think nearly every player has their own ice machine, like contraption, or I guess what's the word?
Chamber?
Not chamber. Like it's like a machine that you take home, and it pumps cold water into these like air pocket things that wrap around your legs.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, so you wrap them around your legs, you Velcro them up, you press the button, and then it will pump cold air and water.
And it tightens as well.
Tightens, so
doesn't
it's
it?
compression and ice. Each player, they cost like probably 10 grand each.
Oh, really?
Each player has that at home. So like they'll go, boom, strap it on. Like Broncos
Except
have
Manly.
a recovery room.
Manly don't have them.
Really? No, Manly don't have them.
That's the
No
crazy
way.
thing is like a lot of those like ice baths are still just as good. It's
Yes.
just easier or
Yeah.
whatever. But like even Broncos, they have a recovery room where it's like full block out beds, fucking crazy shit. So you just don't know.
working,
Look, they're recovered.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
They're definitely recovered.
They're there.
But yeah, so it's interesting to see how quickly Cleary can get back because he dislocated his shoulder. Like he's going to need a reconstruction.
Yeah.
So you'd think 6 weeks minimum, and then he gets to Rico at the end of the year.
At the end of the year.
To's such a big out for them.
I was saying on the podcast yesterday, is he nearly as important as Cleary and Luai? Like, I know that sounds fucking crazy. I was like, no, he's not the half. But the starts to the sets that he gets, okay, what did we just spend the last 15 or 10 minutes talking about? Is if you lose the first tackle, your whole set's fucked. They don't. Not only do they win the first tackle, not only do they not lose the first tackle, they dominate the first tackle, and then after that, every set is good. And you found teams that go well against the Panthers are the ones that bomb to To'o so that he can't take the second run or the first run or whatever it is, the second or first run. Do you think this hurts their momentum going into the finals, knowing that he's not going to be back till at least week one of the finals?
Hugely. It's actually like he's a massive, massive out. I mean, obviously he's not as big as Cleary and what's their other half? Luai, but he's there or thereabouts. Like he's been the best, as you said. I think he's got the most meters, post contact meters in the comp
by 4 or 5 games. 300.
Yeah.
He is winning post contact meters against forwards by 350 meters. That's post contact.
How can losing the king of the PCM not be concerning?
It's concerning.
They should. And I don't, did
The
we say this
king
the other
of
week?
the
We need to
PCM.
give that
Yeah.
out at the Dally M's, the PCM king, and you give him a
Fucking
crown.
oath. Dally
You
M
get the Dally
PCM
M,
machine, babe.
And then you get put a crown on your head as the king of the PCM.
And everyone
king.
bows to you.
Yeah.
Because you're a beast.
Because like PCM is the biggest stick energy you can have. Like,
100%.
like meters you can gain by like, oh, nice little line break, I made 50 meters. PCM is the true salt of the earth kind of getting into the contact and then using big dick energy to push through.
How much have I dominated my opponents by every single time I carry the ball throughout this season?
Who can stop me?
Yeah. King of the PCM, here's your crown.
He averages 95 post-contact meters a game.
He averages
95?
That's a joke.
That is fucking insane.
That's
Give that man
There's
the crown.
blokes that don't run for 100 metres.
Plenty.
Number 2 is 73.
Oh.
So he's averaging 20 more post contact meters a game.
And number 2 is
He's
Payne
like
Haas.
25%
Sorry?
better.
Number 2 is Payne Haas.
And what are his?
70,
Payne Haas is 73.9.
73.
So Payne Haas, the biggest human in history, one of the most genetically gifted athletes we've seen for a very long time, is 20 meters behind fat dick on the flank To'o.
Yeah.
He's like, he'd be over 20% worse.
Wow. That's
massive.
That's a stat and a half.
That is a stat. I wonder if he's going to break the record for PCL. Oh, he's not going to now. I wonder if he breaks the record.
He
for
might
that.
still, mate.
Yeah, you know
Numbers
what?
like that.
He fucking might.
That's very upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Panthers in deep shit. Storm will probably. I know we're not covering that game yet, but
Couple of
that's good for the
Origin
Storm.
injuries, almost.
Yeah, well, I guess they're feeling the pains of a powerhouse club. You know, Storm have to go through it. Roosters have to go through it. Broncos being a powerhouse club, using them to go through it.
Yeah. You guys.
I mean, we haven't had to go through it in a couple of years, but we did. I understand the feeling as a powerhouse club. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have memories from when you played, maybe like 10 years ago.
Oh fuck. So hopefully To'o is good because the game needs as many fat dicks on the flank as possible, and he is one
Always
of them.
said that. Always said it.
Now there's a bit
to
of
live by.
There's a bit of rumor or innuendo or heard it on the grapevine. There's been big offers for Joey Manu. Latest rumor is a 7-figure offer from the Warriors. I 1,000,000% don't believe that.
7-figure
So $1 million contract.
a year.
Yes, but because he could be a good fullback. I don't believe they're offering him $1 million, but I do believe that he is of the age, and I spoke about this when he signed his last contract. Eventually, Joey Manu is going to do the same thing Latrell did and say, I don't want to be paid centre wages.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a centre. I want to be a fullback. He's done his time. He's given back to the club. Even though I think it's good if he stays at the Roosters, for Joey Manu personally, I actually think it's a good idea that he's exploring options because he's only got so many years in the game.
Big dick bickies, get him, brah.
If you can get them.
Yeah.
If you can get 'em.
If you can get big dick bickies, you fucking get them.
You get big dick bickies.
100%.
He's been on black and golds for too long now. The home brand shit. It's time for him to go out there and get some Tim Tams. I'm happy for him, and I hope he leaves the Roosters because fuck the Roosters, right? So go to the Warriors.
I'll never begrudge a man looking to get that fucking double coat money.
No, dude.
You know what I mean?
Double stuff. Oreo, double coat Tim Tam.
Like, mate, he's living on fuck all at the moment.
Yeah.
A man of his talent, I didn't know he could play fullback, but if he can, fucking go get it, mate.
So-
and if someone's going to give you 7 figures, like,
You take
you
it.
eat that up with a spoon.
Especially when he's probably on 400 at the moment. I'd say around that, maybe.
Like, that is madness. He's won a comp or two.
Comps.
Two comps. Can you please get up his fullback performances,
So fuck
please?
it.
Because
You know what I mean?
his fullback performances.
Won the comps, baby.
Every time he's played fullback, he's got like 200 metres, 10 tackle breaks, try assists. Like, he's a gun fullback.
Well,
or
he's
even number 6 even.
He's an absolute beast. It's unfortunate that he's never going to get a shot while he's at the Roosters. So, mate, I say, if you're getting that money offer, fuck it.
Get out now.
It's what's really interesting, and it's kind of like two topics, is how much it's proving that fullbacks are becoming the best player in squads.
Yep.
So much so that it's making clubs lose players because they can get that fullback money because they're the best. You know what I mean? They're the big dog.
Yeah.
Because like Joey Manu, he's 6'2", 3, 105 kilos. Like, he's massive, but the footwork of a little fella. What'd you get, Matt?
Yeah, whenever he plays fullback, his meters are crazy. It's like 225, 219, 290 one week, 223. It's
Oh,
crazy.
so he's a motherfucker.
Yeah, he's a motherfucker.
And he can ball play, which you need to be able to do at fullback.
What about tackle breaks?
I'll get them up.
Like, a fullback now, you've just got to be
Everything.
the whole
Yeah.
fucking package, mate.
You've got to be everything.
You've got to be 6'5", you've got to be
Yeah.
110, you've got to have fucking the ball playing ability of a half. Like, you've just got to be a psychopath.
Yep.
Tackle breaks, 7, 8, 5, 6, and 6.
Yeah. So
7, 8, 5, 6, and 6.
he's moving those hips.
Yeah. Big time.
You got to be able to move your hips as well.
Yep.
Because
Absolutely.
your hips don't lie, and you'll get found out.
You'll get
back
found
there.
out.
Hips
Lying
don't lie.
hips get found out.
I think every fullback should have a Zumba instructor.
Lying hips always found out. If your
Lying-
hips lie, you're fucked.
Yeah. No.
Where do you think that, let's say the Warriors are going to offer him, because I don't think they're going to offer him $1 million, 800K. And they play him at 6, because I actually think he's a good 6. He's played 6 as well for the Roosters.
So what, Reece goes to Reece
Reece
stays
at fullback, because I don't think Reece is ready for frontline defence. Yeah, where do you think Joey Money would, I guess, yeah, right?
Well, 6 or fullback. Do whatever the fuck he wants,
Oh,
right?
sorry, what club?
Oh, Warriors. Well, listen, I know despite everything you just said about the Warriors being really good for proving my whole bias theory.
No, but
right.
lately they haven't been good.
Yeah, right? Like, I think career's short, get the money, you've won 2 comps, you played for your country, you're still going to be able to play well with the Warriors. The Warriors, despite their performances, are building a good team.
Are the Broncos looking for a fullback?
We could use one. I'd like the Broncos to go after him because he can play 6 or fullback.
That was a laboured, deep breath when you asked him. I was like, all right, we'll talk about that.
Well, I was just thinking about Nico Hines and how you fucking lowballed the shit out of him. Like, is it time to offer market for someone?
The only
Spat
problem is
Nico Hines' face.
Yeah, but it gets worse because the only problem is there's talks that we may lose Tessie New because we don't even have enough money to offer him a contract.
Oh my
apparently,
Where's all your money
You guys
going?
are
What are you
deadbeats.
spending it on?
What's wrong with you, dude?
apparently our salary cap is so bad he hasn't even been given a formal offer
Is
yet.
it true that Matt Lodge is the highest paid player in the comp now?
I don't know. I don't. I'm not sure. Maybe, but
Because
I know
that was
he's-
doing the rounds on social media.
Well, I know
and
he's-
if that's true, there's a fuck up somewhere.
Well,
and
see,
the
Seabold-
Broncos are at the middle of it. Have to be.
Seabold went again. I don't know the 100% certainty, but it seemed like Seabold went very forward heavy, and then the game changed. You know what I mean? Like he signed Flegler on big deal, Matt Lodge, Tavita Pangai Jr. Payne Haas was signed by Wayne on a small deal. Payne Haas is actually on less than all those boys. I'm pretty sure.
Fair dinkum.
And so I think like Seabold, the way he wanted to play, I'm assuming was this big athletic forward pack to the old rules, like big fucking and
Big lumbering blokes.
yeah, and it didn't
work, did
and
it?
now we're paying the
And so you guys can't even afford to pay Tessie New, who I assume isn't going to be asking that much money.
he's barely played first grade. He'd be
I
asking
mean-
200-300K max.
And you can't afford that.
That's
so you're
how
not gonna be able to
dire things up.
They've
What?
been-
That doesn't make sense.
Well, now it makes sense why we didn't offer Nico Hines more.
'Cause you couldn't.
Because we couldn't.
I reckon.
I think Kurt Capewell. I think Staggs, Capewell, and Reynolds is taken up a bit, which is good. They deserve to.
Well, Tony's he's a
throbber.
He's a big
Just
throbber.
needs a ball more. But yeah, so it's
Well, a good half will help.
That's the thing though. That's why you need to make shrewd decisions. Like Reece Walsh would have stayed if we had just let him play first grade. He would have stayed for fucking 230. That's our fullback sorted.
Well, the Broncos didn't see anything in him.
No.
And so that's why, like, when people, you're being too dramatic, it's just one player. But that's how thin the line is between completely fucking your cap and your team makeup because you don't have key positions because you didn't sign the gun on the small contract when he was, you know what I mean? Now he's worth fucking fuckload. We'd have to pay $1 million.
There's no chance you get Joey Manu, is there?
No, we don't have the money.
Well, off the back of that conversation, Tom, I think it's fair to say that there's zero chance.
Zero, yeah. I'm prepared to say that. You also were going after Dane Gagai, which is good to see you missed out on him as well.
We clearly couldn't afford him as well. Look, it's been tough. We've got Reynolds, we've got Capewell. We're good to go. Tony Staggs as well.
Staggs is great. I love Katoni.
Capewell's good as well. Capewell's a gun.
Yeah, no, Capewell's a gun.
And Reynolds is also a gun. We've gone all right. We've gone all right.
Yeah, you've gone all right. You've gone all right.
I mean, like we talked quite in depth.
Your side next year is going to be a fuckload better than it is now.
It's going to be much better. But we're talking with Finchy yesterday how if anyone's struggling as the Tigers right now, the people they've missed out on has been very. I feel sorry for them.
I don't know if this happened in between our shows from last week, this week, but does anyone buy that yarn that they went to the Raiders and said, we'll give you Luke Brooks and someone else for Jack Whiten and Hodgson? Like, in what world does anyone think that that's possible? That was what was reported.
Yeah, I remember seeing
it was
that.
Hoops who reported it.
I believe so. I didn't want to...
Look, I'm not sure, but it does seem that panel is very pro Raiders establishment.
Yes.
That's a...
If you were just like looking at it.
Yeah.
That just seems like... But it's so ridiculous to even offer that like even the most dribbly rugby league fan was like, what?
But I think what makes it even more crazy is that I think the Raiders were actually seeing if Brooks was free because they lost Williams. So it was actually, again, I don't know, you just never know because there's so much bullshit out there. But I think the initial reach out was from the Raiders.
Right.
Saying, what's Brooks doing
with Brooks?
Yeah. And then after that, but the initial report was what you just said. But it may have been, all right, well, if you're interested in Brooks, we'll fucking take Whiten, as if to say, like, he's our main guy.
Yeah.
And then it may have been, and then, Hoops being a Raiders establishment, it seems, I could be wrong, but it seems that he has connections at the Raiders or friends. They've come out and been like, you know what, we'll just fucking embarrass the Raiders and fucking...
That's why you're here, Denon.
Yeah.
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
Bit of clarity for Tom and I.
Yeah.
Because I read that and I was like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever fucking heard. But
yes,
put into some context,
it makes a little more sense. But then they also said that the Tigers threw like a last minute offer to Pangai after not saying they didn't want him, and then it was like he was basically going to sign with the Panthers or with the Bulldogs, and then like 2 seconds before.
Yeah, I won't defend the Tigers in that situation. The situation handling of Finucane, and I've spoken to people in the comments section who feel a little bit differently about this, so I respect your opinion, Tigers fans. But if you're Dale Finucane, you've won multiple grand finals. Matter of fact, you've been in about 6 grand finals in the last fucking 10 years. And then then Tigers openly say, we're going after DeVita. That's an insult to Dale. It's like,
yeah.
I'm Dale Finucane. Tavita Pangai Jr., although very talented, hasn't achieved anything yet. His potential, you could argue, is bigger than Dale. But at the end of the day, Dale Finucane's comp winner, rep player, Australian player. New South Wales. He's the guy you build clubs around. So, like, as soon as... It's like... The issue, in my opinion, is... Of course, go after DeVita because he's got potential. If that's what you want. I don't think that that's what they need right now as a club. But if you want to, go after him. But don't go public with it. Because you don't want to piss off the other guy that you're apparently discussing with. If they weren't even talking to Finucane, the Tigers, then that's crazy. They should have been talking to him. Now, some people have come out and said, well, they weren't willing to offer him the 4-year contract. I guarantee the Sharks, having that 3rd and 4th year, if you don't do X and X games or whatever, this kicks in, because I can't see the Sharks paying... They would have things in place. They would be crazy to give him.
How old is he now?
He's 29, 30 years old.
Yeah.
So that's a long contract.
Yeah, that's a long contract at that age. But Dale Finucane's a stand-up guy. He's not the kind of guy that's like, oh yeah, I've played 2 games in fucking 2 years, but I'm still going to take my 600 grand contract or whatever. I think the Sharks have gone, yeah, we'll give you the 4-year deal. If you play 15 or more games, then you get your payment. If you play in the 4th year, if you only play 2 games, or whatever, then it downgrades to 300K.
Yep.
And then we put you in our coaching staff or whatever it is. That would be the smart way to do it. And Dale Finucane, backing himself, would be like, yeah, that's fair. Like if I don't play...
If I'm not playing well,
yeah,
and I'm not
I should
doing
fucking... Fair enough. But the way it's been handled with Tigers, like publicly saying Tavita and then going cold on him, meeting him whilst he was contract with the Broncos, and then Tavita denied it, and it's just messy. You know what I mean?
Is that them trying to like be cool? You know, like just thinking like we can just do whatever we want and just sort of like, oh yeah, we're interested, we're not interested. No, we're like just trying to play it too cool. And it's like, dude, like just run this a little bit more professional.
Some clubs do it to pressure players to sign.
Right.
You know, like so for example,
treat them mean, keep them keen.
Well, no. For example, when I was at the Warriors,
Age old.
What happened with the Warriors? So I was at the Broncos. This is when I was playing well. I went to the Broncos just before I was playing NRL, but just before I kicked off, and I went to them and said, I want to re-sign. I want to stay. They said, we've got a minimum wage contract for you here, but just so you know, you're third winger in line. You're behind Stephen Michaels and Darius Boyd. And I was like, I'm an NRL player, and I believe that I'm a better winger at the moment than those two. Darius obviously went to play Origin that, but I felt at that time I was
you're
a better
backing
winger.
yourself.
Yeah. At minimum, I was in the top two wingers at the club. Anyway, so we went out. The Warriors were really interested in, and they were like, we think you're an NRL player, so we will. I actually got offered. So the Broncos was 50 grand and match payments. So if I played the full NRL season, I would have gotten more than the 90 grand that I got offered from the Warriors.
Right.
So people think that I signed for the Warriors for like 300K. No, I signed for 90 grand Australian, no match payments. So I actually took a pay cut compared to the Broncos, but I went there because I was going to play
footy.
But what happened so they said, this is the offer. I said to my manager called me, this is the offer. I was like, all right, yes, I'm sweet with that. Hadn't spoken to them, as in confirmed with them, hadn't signed anything, nothing. Then I went out and played like 3 really good games, scored 4 tries, scored like the try against the Tigers, whatever, and I became hot property on the market. Then these big offers started coming in.
Hot piece of ass.
Yeah, hot piece of ass. I wasn't a hot boy, but I was a hot piece of
You're
ass.
a hot piece of
Marbled
ass.
meat, baby.
And so these big offers started coming in, including, you know, Wayne sat me down. He's like, I'm not sure what your contract situation is with the Warriors, but if you want to come Dragons, you come Dragons.
Did you start walking with your arms out more? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Traps out.
Trapping on people and shit?
Absolutely.
Bumping past.
Absolutely.
Hot property coming through.
Like, is that what happens when you get that big boy
Yeah,
money?
I think so. You don't notice it,
Well,
though.
that big boy interest?
It's a subtle flare of the shoulders.
Yeah.
So,
But you do flare.
well, you do, but
like
it's kind of like when you either put on weight or lose weight. It's so gradual that you don't notice it until you look at photos of yourself. So if you look at photos of me from that time, I actually had my shoulders flared.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the time, I didn't realise.
It did.
Yeah, I get you.
You're just coming out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You'll look back on photos of you right now and go, fuck, I'm looking juiced.
Yeah, and those traps are fucking
looking
engaged.
flared,
Looking
bro.
fucking big.
Why are those traps always engaged?
Dude.
Anyway, so all these like big offers came in, blah, blah, blah. But because then the Warriors started panicking. And so they released something basically to say that I'd agreed. So they release it because I technically had said yes, yes, but I hadn't signed anything, nothing like that. And so that's when they release it to go, and then I'm like, it's done then. But because these big offers came in, I could have said the Broncos, blah, blah, blah. But because I'd given them my word, I fucking took a massive pay cut.
Do you regret it?
I don't regret it because I'm here now. But if I was,
just like in that, obviously things have turned
in
out
isolation,
well for you. But in isolation, that moment where like you're a good bloke, right? And obviously like your word, I assume that's the approach, right? Like was your word, was your bond.
Yeah.
You said that, so you did it. Is there a part of you knowing how fucking seedy rugby league is and how comfortable and willing clubs are to fuck you that you would have just been like, you know what, fuck it?
Yeah, I mean, like in a vacuum, yeah. But me being like that attitude has gotten me to where I am today.
Certainly.
So I'm okay with it.
Yes.
Whereas if like I was, fucking.
When you were in the mines, not in the mines, what were you doing?
I just couldn't live I gave them my word. I said yes. So I would be a piece of shit regardless if I went against that. So there's never been a time where I say I regret it. Even though you could argue that, I struggled or whatever after. I mean, you couldn't argue. You'd be fucking right. Okay, Dane Gagai. We're talking about Dane Gagai to the Knights. Do you think that's a good signing for the Knights?
Yeah. Who's their other centre? Obviously, there's Bradman Best. Is it Tuala?
Yeah, Tuala. He's a good sort too.
Is he? I can't remember. I can't picture him right now, but I'm sure.
Enari Tuala?
Tuala, yeah.
Great name.
It is a lovely
I like the name, Enari.
Yeah, I like it.
That's like a model's name, Enari. You know what I mean?
Enari is, yeah.
can see
Enari's
it.
a hot guy that probably used to date your missus and you get fucking intimidated every time you see him.
Yeah.
Enari was like the exchange student that would just come over and just start bedding all the women.
Yeah.
All the girls in the class liked him, and you're like, who's this fucker?
Who's Enari? And you're like, I don't know. Fuck that. The French guy.
Yeah, the French guy with usher muscles and a six-pack.
Yeah.
Look at you, you fat
Who
loser.
smells
I'm like,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
But he doesn't care about anything. That makes you angrier. Do you know what I
Exactly,
mean?
yeah.
Like, you're trying so hard to impress.
Yeah.
He actually actively looks like he's trying not to root your missus, but he is rooting your missus.
And he's fucking super friendly as well.
And he's wearing loafers and I'm wearing fucking skate shoes. And
Yeah.
now there's an imbalance and I'm embarrassed.
Back of my jeans are all ripped because they're super baggy.
Yeah,
and
like
shit.
that because they're at the bottom
They're
of the shoe.
falling under the shoe.
They're falling under the shoe and now they're frayed.
He's there with
He's wearing
tapered
Amani
pants.
jeans
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm fucking frayed to
And
fuck.
you can see his hog just down the side of one leg.
Oh, he's
Guaranteed
hogged
big hog.
up and he knows how to use it.
Yeah.
That's Amani.
You'd have to like
I'm a
wrap me
Murray.
in Glad wrap to try and see even just the hint of a bulge. You know what I mean? And he's doing it with fucking full blown jeans.
Like, he's got those
denim, heavy denim.
Yeah.
data. He's got the data jeans on. You know the old
data.
data? Thick
Yeah,
data?
data.
Champion?
Yeah.
And you can still see the hog in him.
You can still see it through.
Yeah, he
there.
just about anything you can see his hog.
Yeah, that's an Ari.
That is Enari for you. That's Enari in a nutshell, really.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, Gagai, I think it's a great signing, bringing Premier experience.
Yeah, he's good.
Now, the GOAT, and I think it's like getting to the point where you can't even really dispute it. Like, I dispute it because of my bias to Wayne, because obviously you coached with him, I got coached by him. But Bellamy extends for 5 years. The first 2 years, he will be the head coach. The next 3 years, he has the option to continue head coaching or go into head of football role. Did Storm just whip their big hog out and fuck the rest of the comp by saying, we're going to continue dominating?
It was wrapped in wool. It was a wool pull it was a hog wrapped in wool.
Like, he was about to sign for the Sharks.
Yeah.
Fucking.
And retire.
And the Broncos.
And go to the Broncos.
Yeah.
Mate, like it just ensures more success, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And if he gets to a point, if he's the director of football, where he starts to groom a protege to, continue the dominance, much like Smith and Cronk and Slater did for the new crop, then we might never see the end of this fucking run.
No.
You know what I mean? It just might just roll on forever.
I don't know whether I heard you and Finchy talking about it, whether we've spoken about it before, whether I've heard someone else speak about it, but does the success of the Storm this year, and again, it's kind of like a big claim, I'm not necessarily even saying I believe it, but like change the way that you perceive Slater, Smith and Cronk, in that like every time they've lost a generational player, it's like, oh, well, it actually hasn't made a difference.
No, I don't think so, because it all comes together. So Bellamy took over in 2002. The year before they took over, they came like 9th, 11th and 9th. His first 2-3 years, so Cameron Smith was already at the club when he took over. His first 2 years, they came 5th, 6th and 5th. So it wasn't like he just took over and then it was a gun. Like, he got that group together. And so they're like Smith, Slater and Cronk, they're a part of the culture that was built. You can't separate them.
Yeah,
it's the egg or the chicken kind of thing.
Yep.
Like, for example, is Bellamy the coach he is without Smith, Slater
Having
or Cronk?
them influence his career.
Yeah, technically Smith was at the club before Bellamy was.
So all four of them created the culture.
Yeah, I
in
think
some
so.
way.
It was the genesis. They were all there at the genesis. So it's hard to say. It's hard to separate. It's not like Bellamy had success and then Cronk came in. So you take out Cronk. You know what I mean? They were all there at the start. So like, I just think that it's...
And they did it in Origin, away from Bellamy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were able
Like
to throb. And Cronk at the Roosters.
And Cronk at the Roosters
And then
as
Cronk
well.
at the Roosters goes there once 2 fucking straight comps. Like,
You know what's crazy? A stat, I think, was it us that spoke about it? No, I think it's Finji. So outside of Hughes, in the last 5 years, the only halfback to be in a grand final is Cooper Cronk.
Hold on, wait a second.
yeah, I heard you talk about that. It's crazy.
Out of Hughes,
So Hughes is the only current halfback in the NRL that has won a premiership in the last 5 years.
holy fuck.
You got to go back to like
2016.
Daly
when-
Cherry Evans.
Chad Townsend.
Chad Townsend.
16, Chad Townsend. The great Chad Townsend's the last fucking...
The great Chad Townsend's the last NRL player to win a fucking...
Because you went Storm 17, 18, 19 Roosters, 20...
Well, Cronk won
Storm.
3 in a row.
Yeah. And then 20 Storm.
Then 20 That's...
Cronk winning
Bonkers.
3 in a row is
What a way to
fucking
go out. That was like... That just... He was already there, obviously, as like a great, but that 3 comp stretch and the 2 at the Roosters, like the first back-to-back, you know what I mean? That's just... It was like... It just set him apart.
But you know what's crazy is like it was a double dicking, a double Storm dicking. because then you thought, okay, well, Cooper Cronk was the reason the Storm was so great. And then Smith whips his big hog out and wins Dally M Hooker of the Year in his last year at fucking 100 years old and the comp in a new set of rules. You know what I mean? And it's like, fuck.
With a new side, essentially.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
And then he left, and now they're still ripping and fucking tearing.
Now they've scored the most points in a fucking season or something.
Averaging like 28 points a game or something.
This will be if they win on the weekend.
That's their winning margin.
Yeah. But
like,
also,
where are we at?
This weekend, I think if they win this weekend,
they'll put the Panthers in a body bag this weekend as well.
Well, that'll equal or beat the club's winning streak.
I think they've already got it.
No, it'll beat it. Yeah, so they've equaled it at 15, and this will beat it.
No Cronk.
They've won
Slater.
15 straight games.
Yeah. Since Panthers beat
them on the buzzer where they actually should have won.
When do they play Manly, though? That's the question.
Week after next. That'll be their loss. Good
That'll
luck.
Be the loss.
They're looking over their shoulders at that.
That'll be the loss.
When they play Broncos, I reckon that's going to be the time.
Next year.
But yeah, Bellamy is like, I honestly think worldwide, anyone could study his methods. If you're beginning any franchise, whether it be sporting or company-wise, anyone could learn. That's how high and elite I think he is. I understand America and Europe that they have much bigger organizations. I get that, but he's been so elite, but with much less resources than those huge things.
Yeah,
I think that anyone could learn something from a guy like Billy Yates.
They're on our betting show about even last week. Shameless plug, but not really. Michael, who's on fucking professional punter,
great.
He went in this deep dive around how Bellamy nullifies the best players in the opposition, and then how he basically forces them, if they're going to beat him, they've got to excel at the thing that is not their main strength, and then if they're going to beat him, it's the best player in the opposition is not going to be the reason that the Storm lose.
The second and third best players have to step up.
He just went and he went back sort of 10, 15 years. It was fucking insane.
Well, it's even little things so what we're seeing now is this crazy attacking side. Cameron Smith said that after 2016 grand final where they lost to the Sharks, he said big for feeder. They actually said that's when they started to change their footy. They said we realised that we couldn't compete with them and other teams sometimes through the middle, and we need to change the way we play. So they went into the lab, came back out the next year, and that's the start. You lose one grand final. That's how elite they are.
Yeah.
They lose a grand final and they go, okay, we need to change the whole fucking way we play.
That's good enough for most clubs. They're like, fucking oath. Making the finals, they're like, yes!
And they lost it by 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't down to the final.
But even still, they were throwing the seed around the end. You're like, fuck, they're going to go over.
I know. That was
I thought they were. I was at that
I was
final.
at that game.
It was a ripper.
That was mental.
Mate, I drank
what do you
too
reckon
much and passed out.
Bellamy...
Literally.
You what?
I got way too blind and passed out before it even finished.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
I just, when you get excited, you haven't drunk for a while and you're on your training wheel still. See you, Dennis.
See you, mate.
Later, Dennis. Thanks for the Chopperoos tops, bro.
Love them, bro.
It's a big play, but you ruined it by talking during the podcast. I'm joking, bro. Thanks for the shirts, bro.
Cheers,
thanks,
dude.
bro. What do you reckon he's on, Big Bellamy?
Oh, whatever.
That's
It is.
outside the cap, right? They can...
Yeah,
mate, honestly, whatever, 1.5 a year, I reckon.
That's nice.
I reckon 1.5.
You reckon 1.5?
Yeah, I reckon. I mean,
but
whatever
if he turned around and said 2,
you just
There
probably
you
give
go.
it to
there you go.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Whatever. You know what? He probably said, "Show me the accounting." He said, "How much can we afford? That's how much you pay me."
Did you see the video? Oh, actually, you wouldn't have. I put it up. Unless you do. I don't know. Our intern sent it to us. But the video of the team meeting between the Storm and it's the Storm team meeting and Bellamy's down there speaking. And then this is obviously today or whenever they announced it. And it was Cam Munster was
that's right.
he goes, so what, how many coaching staff have we got next year? It must only be 2 or 3 after the contract you got, after how much you got paid. And then Bellamy goes back to him and he's like, well, mate, I don't know if we're going to have enough players to fill our 30-man squad after how much we're paying you. And
Oh, fuck, that's
completely
good.
roasted
That's
him.
what's crazy is we're seeing it now, I think, with social media, but for so long we thought it was an army camp down there. We're sitting on
Yeah.
Storm's a fucking army reservation. They're literally going
some
to
really
camp.
intense scat.
Yeah,
fucking
whereas
environment.
Bellyaches are fucking one of the boys.
The cheese is filling his bag with rocks and
Yeah.
shit.
That's
It looks like a lot of fun.
It
absolutely.
does look like a lot of fun.
It looks like a shitload of fun. Well done. Great signing. They'll fucking dominate for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
we just got a message in. The reason why Dave from the Chopperoos, he was in the wrong time. There wasn't a Chopperoo team at the time. David Foster, that is from Chopperoos. Oh, well, not from Chopperoos. There wasn't
Not
a
of Chopperoos
Chopperoos
fame.
team around when he was in his prime. He was a member of the Australian wood chopping team for a long and captained it for a lot of years, but he wasn't in the wrong time. So the political nuance, the depth that we went to, that may not have happened.
Look, what we're saying is that basically the 20-minute Chopperoos diatribe we went on, you can basically just wash that from your brain.
Not relevant. Not relevant, not correct. There is no infighting. Dave predated the side.
Yeah.
Good to get that out. I think.
But technically, though, if he represented the nation, then he did represent the Chopperoos.
He did. So he's a Chopperoo.
He's a Chopperoo legend.
So drawing correlations between Conor McGregor and the UFC, that is not accurate, guys.
No, that's not
He is not the
accurate.
Conor McGregor of the chopping game. I
Which
apologise.
I pointed out as a salt of the earth man from Tasmania. I think I cleansed
Mr.
us of that.
Tasmania.
I think I
Apologies.
cleansed us of that.
That was
We apologise for nothing,
apologies.
but we may have been wrong.
I apologise. I'll apologise.
I refuse to apologise, but shout out to Dave.
And the Chopperoos, our favourite side.
Because we were in the jersey.
Yeah, the official
Because
national
we love our
side of
country
it.
and we watch the
I'm not
Olympics.
taking this
We
off.
should do
I'm
a
not
wood
taking it
chopping
off.
podcast.
They're actually fucking pretty nice
Who do you
jerseys.
reckon would be the best wood chopper?
Out of us?
Yeah.
Not me.
Not me. I'm too big right now, but if I got lighter,
I'm like probably,
actually, but you're tall though, and I think
Yeah.
the tallness would help with the swing.
and I'm thick. I'm probably
mechanics.
closest to Dave.
You could chop, I reckon.
Like I think maybe I've got sort of. I'm still.
Yeah,
like,
I reckon you got the
loose
best
and fucking-
physiques for the
Yeah.
mechanics of it. I think you got the best
I'm
physique.
not that strong, but I'm stronger than you. Not as strong as him. He's too muscular. You're too small. I'm like a big, heavy set fucking.
But sometimes the
wood
fitness,
chopping
you could
beast.
maybe beat him in the first few minutes.
I'd come over the top of
over
you.
the top
Beat
of
you in
fitness.
like a power chop, but if we were climbing those trees, I
Yeah.
think you'd have me then. Where you got to like chop in footholds.
Yeah. The stamina chop.
Yeah.
I'd out chop
Yeah,
you.
yeah. You'd out chop me in a stamina
But
chop.
the power chop, you'd
Power
out
chop,
chop
I'd
me.
have you done.
Yeah.
Although Kempy could actually do us all in the power
Nah.
chop.
You get done.
Okay,
Inside
NRL,
joke.
NRL CEOs is being asked to consider a loan system due to the COVID situation. What are your guys' thoughts on loan systems?
I thought they were already doing a loan system.
That's what I fucking thought as well.
How many times we talk? I thought the loan system was already a thing they did. Momirovski to fucking the Tigers or to Melbourne or.
You know what's funny, and this is it's related kind of. So like, I think it was like Brad Takarangi put up a post of saying like, okay, if we're not going to send Australia and New Zealand to the World Cup, should we send the Indigenous, the Māoris and the Indigenous Australians? And then you saw on like 9 and that, them going, oh, and there's word of an Indigenous All-Star. Like, should they be sent? Like, as if it's legit word, not
But
just some
just
dude
some
on the
guy said
net.
it.
that's-
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. I like the idea though, personally.
I love the
was
idea,
like,
but that's
fuck
all it
oath.
takes to write an article. It can be like, oh,
Yeah, but-
there's a Twitter pile on someone. It's like, we just got 3 tweets that we could find and then just written a bit.
No, but you
in between.
you embed them.
Yes.
And now I've got an article.
Now it's a Twitter pile.
No, you know what I
Now
like?
it's legit.
Yeah.
No, my favourite is using a Twitter post and then quoting it in the headline. Like, he's crazy, as if it's come
Yeah.
from someone of authority.
Yeah.
But really, it's fucking Davo eating
dribbler.
Cheetos on the fucking net. Doesn't give a fuck. He hasn't even thought about the tweet again.
Davo doesn't know what the fuck. Davo doesn't even realise his tweet's now being used as a headline for an article from news.com. He's like, wait, what the fuck?
Oh, it was actually a parody. It was satire.
Yeah, I was taking the piss.
I love
I'm eating
fucking
Cheetos and I'm nude.
Probably shouldn't take advice from me, but yeah, it's funny. Like, oh, there's word of an Indigenous side. What's crazy? It literally makes 0 sense. So they're going to not allow the Australian players to go, but they're going to allow the Indigenous and the Māori to go. That
Dude,
makes
I thought
0
they
sense.
couldn't not let him go.
No, they're contracted NRL players, and even if they weren't legally bound, they're the NRL clubs. They just go,
Nah, you're
"You're
not,
not going, bruh."
But what about someone like the
I
Roosters?
did romanticize the idea though.
I mean,
like-
it's a-
I got to be honest with you, I did.
So with the NRL then, because like Trent Robinson, I think was like he's like got ties to the French rugby league team. He wanted to go ahead. Could
So
he
does Wayne
make?
Bennett.
Could he make the executive call on behalf of the Roosters?
Well-
if you want to go play for Italy today,
Well, that's the thing. That's what's interesting though, is because some players will go, and that's why it's so controversial. Is because it's like you've pulled Australia and New Zealand out. Well, okay, well James Tedesco, he can play for Italy. He's going to go play for Italy.
Is there any way
That's
they
what
can
I don't
change
get
them
though.
on?
That's what I'm not getting in this whole situation. Is if the NRL controls the NRL players, is there a fucking World Cup at all? Like, wouldn't the vast majority of players come from Australia?
Oh, absolutely. But that's what's so controversial is that the ARL, like New Zealand and Australia, have gone, we're going to throw our weight around here and be like, we're not going to join. Therefore, like, we'll stop. We're not going to be represented. If we have enough weight to stop, you know what I mean? Everyone else.
Why are they pulling the pin now?
I
in
don't know.
Late July.
Can they change their mind? Is it a bit of a like?
they can't now.
Surely this
Why
isn't a
can't they now?
COVID thing.
Well, that's what it is. They don't feel it's safe over there because, like, in the Super League, they've had 13 game cancellations in the last 7 weeks. So my understanding is that they don't believe that the facilities are in place to keep the players from getting COVID. And I'm assuming because the NRL players hasn't been a single COVID case with the NRL players, touch wood. If they go over and get it, that looks bad on the game that, this NRL player got COVID.
Even if they're vaccinated.
Yeah. Well, vaccinations don't stop COVID.
But if everyone in the world's vaccinated, are you going to keep locking down?
Well, no, 100%.
That doesn't make any fucking sense. Eventually, people are going to get it.
I've got mates in England who have double vaccinated,
talking about?
and he was like, I was Skyping him the other day, and he's like, yeah, dude, I'm pretty sure I've got COVID right now.
But
I'm not feeling well, but it's like everyone's fucking got it.
Yeah.
But that's my exact point.
Yeah.
That's my exact point. If the whole of Australia is vaccinated, are you going to keep locking down to be like,
and that's the argument from some that this is a power play of like, well, Australia and New Zealand maybe, again, this is not my position, but Australia and New Zealand, because they don't have any financial incentive, are just like, you know what, fuck it, we're just not going to go. It's going to cost us too much money to send them really, you know what I mean? Whereas aren't
they employed in some respect to look after the international game?
Yes and no. To
a degree?
I think it's positioning politically. I think it seems like that they're using the COVID situation as a reason for maybe something else. Because I agree with you. Like, if that was the case, why are we announcing now?
Yeah.
Now, I understand for sure that it's... I can understand... Let's say they are truly like, it's not safe. I can understand their thinking behind that. Like, it does look like it's not safe, especially because a lot of United Kingdom, not a lot of it, but I think, a lot of it, they are vaccinated, whereas our players aren't vaccinated right now. Most of them anyway, I'm assuming nearly all of them. So I understand their thinking there, and I understand that, okay, player safety, but it is so far away. If we're all in good faith trying to make this happen, how come we're pulling out so early? Now, the argument against that would be, well, we're actually doing them a favour by pulling out so early so they don't go ahead and waste all this money. You know? So, I don't know. That's just...
It's a shit fight.
It's a shit fight. It's a shit fight.
But then, like, to turn around and then have fucking half those players then go and pledge their allegiance to other sides, potentially.
75% of players said they wanted to go.
There you go. What are we fucking talking about?
Yeah.
If 75% of players are going to go anyway and represent other nations, tier 2 and the like, have we fucking missed an opportunity?
Is there no way for them to change their mind now? Is it like officially out? Can't like go, sorry, just fucking trying to fake
I'm sure they're trying to bridge something here, but it would be a disaster for the ARLC and the New Zealand Rugby League if players that could have played for Australia say, I'm going to go anyway and play for another country.
It looks embarrassing.
It looks bad then.
And if 75% of players do that...
Well, 75% of players said they wanted to go and play for Australia and New Zealand.
Okay. They're not necessarily eligible. But if you go back far away, I reckon they'll be able to fucking...
I think...
They get pretty loose with the eligibility, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. It's like you got to...
Technically, I play for China.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they have a team?
Huh?
Do they have a team? What are they... Is there a Chinese rugby league team?
There would be, surely.
They might be named after you. You might be China's greatest ever rugby league
Imagine if they were called the Den and Camp.
You're the Joey Johns of Chinese rugby league, dude.
It's like a hero's welcome to China.
Dude.
And for people listening, my granddad's fucking Chinese, so that's
Dad
why.
has Chinese heritage.
There we go.
Yeah.
So
can we confirm the existence of the Den and Camp?
The Chinese Republic Den and Kemps.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I can see, let's take everyone on a good faith argument. I can see New Zealand and Australia's concern when 13 Super League games have been cancelled due to COVID. You're like, fuck, clearly that you can't handle. Like, it's clearly not being handled correctly. Now, obviously, United Kingdom are in a different situation with way more cases or whatever. But on the flip side, I agree with you guys. Like, why is it so early? Also, like, get them vaccinated. It's November. Surely at least NRL players will be vaccinated by then.
100%.
Well, so I
would be shocked if they weren't.
Before any frontline workers as well, I'm happy to march for that. National representative rugby league players vaccinated before any fucking nurse in this country.
It's been literally putting her life on the line for us.
Fuck that. Can she throw a fucking left to right? If she can't, then I don't want to hear about it.
Oh, fuck. Can you imagine like all the shit that they've been through for this country, like the frontline workers,
Mate.
and they'll just like never get the fucking thanks for it. Like,
Or even just like someone who works at Woolworths, like who has to just every day in an outbreak just be like, I'm fucking serving or I'm in this room with just hundreds of people coming in.
Yeah.
Even that, I'm like, they should even get a fucking pay rise.
So interesting. I'm not sure, and I think that if a lot of players go, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to play for Italy, play for Samoa, Tonga, blah, 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 that will be a PR disaster for Australia and New Zealand, because then it's like, wow, you tried to use your weight, and a lot of players have just said, fuck it.
But if that is the case, I can see them then flexing on the NRL clubs to flex on their players.
Oh, there'll be a lot of flexing.
You know? They'll be flexing.
There'll be a flex off.
Yeah.
It'll be a classic.
There will be a
flex
rugby
off.
league flex off.
Yeah.
You
see them from time to time, Tom.
Yeah.
You do.
You do.
Yeah. And I think we're going to see, come November, we're going to see a good old-fashioned flex off between the powers that be.
Everyone just looking at each
We're
other.
going to see RLPA director come on.
That's what's fucking crazy about this whole situation. It's like that November is a long way away. It's not a long way, but it's 4 months.
Yeah.
You'd expect the vaccination numbers to grow significantly between now and then. What are we fucking worrying
what's crazy
about?
is it seems that the players weren't even brought in to discuss
Young,
about
hot
it.
stallions vaccinated in the prime of their lives?
Spreading their seed across England.
Yeah.
Single ones, of course.
I don't say, if you quarantine them on the way back, so be it. But let the stallions play.
And one of the arguments as well was like, okay, if they go and then they quarantine on the way back, that's another 2 weeks that they
have to
miss before pre-season.
Also, the rugby league player does love to spread seed, and if they're over in England, spreading, like, you're almost guaranteed for every player that catch COVID, probably, just on a rugby league standpoint, because the seed will be spread almost immediately.
Yes.
We can't follow the rules even in Australia during Origin.
So you go down there with loose rules.
If you go over there and you lay, 3 or 4 kilometres of pipe, you're bound to get COVID.
We were actually musing about this in terms of the rugby league player and how you can maybe mitigate or try and sort of stop them from getting up to no good and spreading seed when it shouldn't be spreading seed.
As in the pointy end of the season.
Couple of rounds to go. Finals upon us. Let's not bring fucking COVID into the game. So they're all in fucking their own hotel rooms and stuff. What if we have like a fleshlight at every door, and to get out, you gotta put a load into it before the door unlocks.
You gotta pump a load into it to get out your door and go to training.
Look, I don't hate it.
Then you leave your hotel room
clear.
But in saying that, if they've got to pump a load before a game, do they lose aggression? So I actually used to not have sex the night before a game because I wanted to have that aggression.
I think you could turn it off. Probably.
I think game day you come with an armoured guard to the door, and you just come with like a high-powered machine gun, and you escort them directly to the bus, and then back to the fucking.
So you turn it off on game days, but you still escort it because
So you turn because you never know.
Would tell us you never know.
Yeah,
they're going to find a way from the bus to their room. Just sneak off somewhere to spread
and try and pump a load somewhere. So you need to have flashlights at the door for 90% of it, and then the game day high-powered rifle.
It's like breathing into one of
the things so you can't start a car.
Immobilizers in the car. You know what I mean?
Just a fleshy on the door.
Look, it at first it kind of hits you like a ton of bricks, but then it kind of eases onto you, and it
actually starts to sound like a
kind
good
of
idea,
genius.
right?
Young stallions, prime of their life, a lot of testosterone, a lot of bent up aggression.
Yeah, with a proclivity for doing the wrong thing sometimes.
And generally speaking, like putting their penises in things. So
give them something to put their penis in, but
give them something.
Do you think it could, I guess, invade? Maybe I'm not all the way there yet, but invade on human rights or even employee rights by forcing a man to root the door in front of his mate?
Well,
that could invade on their privacy?
I don't think it'd be the first NRL player to pump a load in front of his mate.
Look, first and foremost, it wouldn't be. But if you wanted, the players could opt in for little booth areas.
We could get a curtain, something like discreet and tasteful.
Something tasteful, Tom. A really tasteful, bespoke curtain.
Yeah.
And then you're in your own little booth and insert, and off you go.
An iPad, maybe, if you need.
But
to
I wouldn't be worried about
up.
your mate watching.
No.
Historically, if the video footage that's emerged over the last 2 years tells us anything, they're almost encouraged. The more eyeballs, the better. Half the blokes don't finish without a mate watching.
So you got to provide the base minimum. You got to provide noise cancelling.
Noise cancelling headphones.
Not hard.
Not hard. iPad up against the door.
I don't see these as hurdles.
No, I could fix all of this in a day.
And look, I'm not against the idea. I'm just throwing out. I'm just trying to brainstorm so we get the right idea,
Yeah.
so I can take it to Vlandis.
Yeah, right. So we get sort of like, I guess, a headphone sponsor, like Bose.
Remember when we used to go into Sanity and like you could listen to like
CDs.
albums and
Yeah,
shit?
yeah.
Same thing. It's on the wall. You've
just take
got
the headphones down.
You can watch something if you
You
want.
know what?
You insert.
Two birds with one stone. We could put a TV there
Yeah,
and
would.
then have the video session of the game that they're about to go to. So, for example, I'm a 3-in. I'm going to watch the other half whilst I'm dropping.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, if that helps from a tactical perspective,
Yeah.
then I think
and then
you absolutely do that.
you know, isolate the A defender and fucking do this and that while you're fucking giving it one.
Yeah.
Okay, so my only last concern, because you've gotten me all the way, there's the line, I'm about to cross it.
Yeah.
Would there be concern of people stealing the genetics of, say, a Tom Trbojevic to create super
We've already
athletes?
thought about this.
Okay, walk me through it.
You can only clone sheep at the moment. So
Well, that isn't what we thought about, but that is the truth. You can only clone sheep, but that doesn't mean someone's.
well,
not
I'm
worth
coming
it.
from the scientific perspective.
Yes, but
What's possible?
We've spoken about the room in, I guess, sort of the coaching salary cap for just a kit man who just handles fleshlights. You need 2 fleshlights a man. We can get them custom made with your name to any specification.
Club
and-
colours?
Club colours.
Well, they're bespoke, so you can
orifice-
adorn them with whatever you'd like.
Orifice specific.
Orifice of choice.
Would fans be allowed to buy this?
Well,
Support their club.
I don't see.
yeah,
why
but
not.
they'd be replicas.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be the true...
No, they wouldn't be the ones that get
Would it
washed.
say replica of it?
Yeah, it'd have to.
It'd have
It'd have
to.
to.
It's
But
like
then
what- yeah.
the kit guy'd come round and he'd take Eddy's and then he'd replace it with the clean one and then he'd move on.
You could also
Take
employ
'em and
one of
put 'em in the
those. I
dishwasher.
don't know if you've seen, but when cash was king, and in the Woolies and Coles of this world, they used to have like the giant pipes, and every now and then they'd roll up the cash, they'd put it in, and suck it away.
yeah.
You could employ like a nut collecting system.
That's actually a way better
just
option.
so it's nice and clean.
And then it's like you just go, the guy just finishes, bang, into
Yeah.
the thing, shoots it up.
well, it shoots it out the back and up.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it working.
I tell you what,
Have we got you over the line yet?
I think I'm over the
And all
line.
this technology exists because I mean I'm using real world examples. So.
My last concern is, where would we get content from as rugby league panelists?
That's a good point.
Obviously, this is a very short-term
Solution to lockdown.
Just so we get this season out, just so Melly can win a comp, and then we throw the fleshlights away and we get on with
Next year, once
Actually,
COVID's
create more
gone,
content, because the boys they've gotten used to being relaxed, and then they go back to old mode and they're like, can't handle it
yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
And we
They
get more
fire up,
fucking
we get
rugby
more
league
content.
drama.
So yeah, this is more just like a COVID.
Yeah, they're not getting
solution.
milked anymore.
A milking will relax you.
It will.
Nothing relaxes
We
than
know
a good
that.
milking.
Nothing like a milking.
Cows will tell you that.
I'm across the line, boys. I'm across
There
the
we
line.
go.
I love it. I love it. These are an idea. I mean, Tom
Yeah.
and Eddie and Tom, you're thinking outside the box.
Always
you're trying to save the game.
Solutions based,
Yeah,
always.
solutions. Liquid solutions based. Okay, now on to the rugby league chat. Oh, actually, a little. What was that?
Oh, that was my chair.
Jesus Christ!
What just did a fluff?
No, I did the chair and then I was like, can you grab me a beer? But I was trying to be discreet about the beer.
A little stat from Matt, the water boy. Top 8 teams all playing each other this week. It's only happened in 2001 and 2006. And last week, the top 8 teams played the bottom 8 teams, and that's only happened 5 times before.
Wow, so it's gone back to back.
Yeah, so-
all top 8 playing bottom 8, and now this week all top 8 are playing each other.
So this week's basically you're going to see the best footy we're going
this
to
is
see.
the round of the year. That's cool.
So you never see this.
Yeah, which is really interesting. I wonder if we see the top 8 close games and the bottom 8, you know what I mean?
Well, that will be interesting.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That will be the. I mean, obviously the Storm and the Panthers is like. It's disappointing that the Panthers have got a couple of injuries, but it's still it's still going to be a good game. But it will be interesting to see what the scores that are rolled out and just to the gulf between what the sort of gulf is.
If the top 8 sides all go unders, I'll find that fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I agree.
I like that.
Now, first game of the week, Roosters versus the Eels. Billy Smith, the most unlucky kid in the fucking world, out for the season. Honestly.
Just can't catch a break, can he?
Literally. Poor bloke.
Still
Fucking poor
young,
bloke.
so hopefully it's just like some players just seem to struggle early on.
Teddy struggled really
Yeah,
a
he did an
lot.
ACL early on
Yep,
as well.
Tommy
didn't he?
Turbo.
Yep, Tommy
Pat
Turbo.
Cummins, Australian cricketer. No, it's a
Yep.
different sport, but
No, well,
relevant.
the youth is fragile.
Yeah.
The body of the youth.
yeah,
It needs to be hardened over time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, not like the good old days where the youth was a harder body. You know what I mean? It seems like now they're too like finely tuned.
Yeah, I think it's more the
Wound
fact
too
that,
tight.
I mean, yeah.
I think the fact that like back in the day you had blokes that were 75 kilos playing fucking centre, whereas now you've got guys that are 100 kilos just as fast, same footwork, fitter, hotter, arguably.
Definitely
Um,
has the strength of the
well,
ligament.
arguably.
Not,
I said
you know what
arguably.
I mean?
I'd agree with that, though.
okay, fair enough.
But is that sort of it though? Like the amount of muscle on a body has increased, and this might be a dumb question because I have no idea what I'm talking about. But does the strength of the ligament get stronger, or like the strength of a bone? Probably not. As the person gets stronger, it's like, well, this thing's still going to fucking break.
Working off vibe here, pure vibe. I always found that like whenever I was light, like my proper weight, which is like I'm fat cunt now, but when I was light, I was, my body felt so much better. Like when I was 80 kilos, like 82, I couldn't get down that low now, but when I was 81, 82 kilos, I felt so like free and not painful or whatever. As soon as I got up to like 89, 88, 89 kilos, I felt tight, back sore, hamstring would go. So vibe, this is just a vibe check. I always felt with extra muscle mass that your body was not actually made to have on it, it increased the likelihood of injury, in my opinion.
There you go.
That's vibe.
I think that solves
That
any
stands up
questions
to
you
my.
may have had.
Yep, I think so.
No need for a doctor.
Round 20. It was crazy. Round 20.
I know, dude.
Fuck.
It gets away from you, doesn't it?
Like 20. Like that's a
It's
season
almost
done.
August.
Like a season's done. It feels like we're fucking kicking off.
We've
yesterday.
basically got one more month of footy before the finals.
The amount of shit we've spoken for 20 rounds is just mind-blowing. Sometimes someone will like bring up something we've said and I've gone, mate, I've got to be honest with you, I have no recollection of saying that, and it shocks me that I did.
You know what I would love, and I know no one's going to do it because I don't have the time, is to put a compilation of everything we've said that is wrong.
Wouldn't be much.
No, that'd be a short episode.
You've said a bit, but
Yeah.
come on.
We wouldn't be in here.
No,
How good would it be, like-
we wouldn't be in the episode. It'd just be dead.
Could you imagine, like, just all wrong? Could you do that? Imagine if you did that with like Fox League and 9 and that. You just compilated
That would be hilarious.
all of the hot takes.
yeah.
It'd go for too long.
All
You
the
need for
breaking
fucking
news.
years.
Yeah.
Okay, Roosters versus the Eels. Who have you got?
I think that the Roosters are going to win.
I've gone the Roosters as well.
Parramatta form.
Parramatta without Moses, different side.
Yep. And they just like, I know Manly lost to the Raiders as well. Not that that's what we're talking about, but
No, it's not.
Eels paying $1.55.
I think, mate, see, that's why I've gone Roosters.
That's
I think they're
value, baby. That's value.
$2.45 is value.
I think it's
245
value.
is value.
The Eels without Moses, different side.
Fourth versus fifth, $1.55, $2.45. That's crazy to me. With it, that's any side with Tedesco in it, like.
But also, the Eels lost to the Raiders last week.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck?
And they're missing their main guy.
Yeah.
That's
Which,
crazy.
if you looked at it, you go, why did they lose to the Raiders? Mitch Moses wasn't playing. Is he playing this week?
No, he's not.
And I think the most value would be your 13 plus Roosters. You know, 'cause
Yeah.
that would be fucking. That can happen.
Yes.
I don't think it's going to happen, but that can happen.
I'm going Roosters. Just a straight up Roosters.
Fuck.
I've gone Roosters with the unders. If you want
I'm
to
going
be
Eels.
dangerous.
I'm going Eels.
Going Eels.
Eels 1-12. Close game. I think it's going to be a great game.
Nah.
I just
Go
think
the
that
Roosters.
I just think they've got something to play for. I know you don't believe in the bounce back, but I think there's a bounce back happening.
We don't believe in the Eels.
West Tigers versus the Warriors.
Look at it. This is.
this is
this
rugby
is-
league at its best.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Set your alarms.
This will get the
ladies and
tongues
gentlemen.
wagging.
I'm going to go the Warriors because the Tigers are favourite and they're a dirty merger club. So you got to flip everything you think is correct about the world. Warriors to win.
But the tough thing about that is then, like, it's a paradox. Because if you have to flip everything you think and
you're
you
never
know
wrong.
it,
You're never wrong and you're never right.
yeah.
That's
So you've
but if
got to
it win-
continue
yeah.
flipping.
If your bet comes off, you're right, and if your bet comes off,
So
you're
whatever
right.
decision you make,
I mean, it doesn't
you've
come
got to
off, you're right.
continue to flip that decision. You know.
People have been known to flip for eternity.
People have been known to lose their
It's sent
mind.
people mad. There's
Yeah.
people in Looney Tune houses at the moment.
or in just like a cave. They've
They've
become
actually-
a recluse in a mountain.
They found
somewhere.
majority of people that support rugby league in loony bins are actually dirty merger club
fans.
fans.
Or blokes trying to pick a winner.
Yeah.
Just for clarity, though, I don't believe in the DMC theory. I think West Tigers are going to get the W.
Yeah.
I think
The Warriors got pumped, didn't they?
I think
last week?
West will.
Warriors are tired.
Warriors have been here all season. I think West win and win well.
And Tigers against Manly had patches where I was like, they don't look too bad.
This is the perfect game for Tigers to get your hopes up.
Yeah,
Do
or
you
to
know what I
break
mean?
your heart.
No, get your hopes up because they come out, they towel the Warriors up. Everyone's going, oh, fuck, we're back, boys.
And
the
then,
next week,
yeah. And who's the young big throbber who was picked in the New South Wales squad?
Oh, yeah, he's a gun. He actually got signed from the Eels. He's a gun.
He is actually, it's funny, before he got signed to the...
Stefano. He's the first.
Stefano, yeah.
Apologies to get that last name wrong.
Before he was called into the Origin
he's a gun.
side, I hadn't really paid any attention to him. In fact, with the greatest respect, Stefano, I was like, who the fuck is that guy? Not trying to be disrespectful, but then, and the name obviously rang a bell, but like then since paying attention, you're like, holy shit, he's a fucking handful.
I'm pretty sure they fought hard to get in from the Eels, like hard.
Right.
And the only reason I think, again, I think it was like last year, that they got him was because the Eels had stacked RCG, Paulo.
Yeah, right.
You know, their front.
Uto Ikamanu, I believe.
Yeah, Uto Ikamanu. Yeah, that's it. I feel good at those, yeah.
I think I just try. Like,
You are quite good at
You
them.
remember people fucking the way they're said in commentary.
What's Adam doing? He's a gun.
He's been him and Dane Laurie, but I actually think he's been the better
I agree.
player for the Tigers.
He's their player of the year.
Yeah.
He's their player of the year.
A sort of a real, like Dane Laurie's a sort of young, hot, on the rise, flashing, shining light, but Adam Doueihi's seems like the more solid, like, oh fuck, this guy, if we can keep him here, he's sort of still getting better and he's playing very well.
You can build a team around him and a club around him.
Yeah.
And he wants to be in that position. So I just think
him.
the concern for a great what Adam doing is that if he continues to play this well, he's going to get big dick offers from other clubs because he's a half.
And then he's just going to be like, oh, do I want to win a comp?
And it may well be a situation where the West lose another one.
Could you imagine if they lost?
Like, imagine if Doing becomes one of the greats, like rips and tears with the six on the back.
Lebanese great. Just a Lebanese great.
And then it's just like, he goes onto a fucking Dally M in a couple of years' time and West go, Jesus Christ, what could have been?
Well, we had to re-sign Luke Brooks.
Yeah.
If they lost Adam Doueihi, he went off to
Luke
win
was the
Dalian.
priority.
We had
No
Luke.
offense.
No, Luke was coming off contract and we had...
I actually think...
Had to show him up with a 7-figure deal.
I honestly think that Luke Brooks is... Like, he can go to a club and play great footy. I actually think there's a great footy in Luke Brooks. But when you look
Across
at
the Pacific.
Man of Steel.
But when you look at that club and the history they've had, they've only made the finals 3 times in like 20 years. Who is more likely to be negatively affecting the other? Do you know what I mean?
Fair call. That's a very fair point. If I'm Luke Brooks, I'm getting the fuck out of there then.
I think.
Do you know what I mean?
I think he'll go
get me
somewhere,
out of here.
and I think he'll go really well. If he goes to a good club and he's willing to play reserve grade, willing to take a pay cut, like Storm, Roosters, Raiders, for an example, I actually think he would have been great at the Raiders.
Well, dude, go to the Raiders. No disrespect, but you're up against Sam Williams.
Who's the coach they got rid of? His name escapes me. The wheels
Potter?
fell off.
Jason Taylor.
No,
Potter,
before that.
Ivan
Potter,
Cleary,
Tim Sheens.
Tim
Tim
Sheens.
Sheens.
He's coming
He's
back.
come back head of football now.
Great
When
call.
Tim left,
Yeah.
it fell in a heap.
It's a classic case. This is what happens with clubs. I mean, it's like the cycle of life, in my opinion, is that they get success, the coach and the players get success, but then the people above them think that they're the reason for their success. So they go, we're not listening to you. Like, okay, here's another example. Here's a perfect example. Bulldogs. They got all that success. Then eventually Desi's crazy ways, they were just like, nah, we've got this success. We've got this great roster. We don't need you anymore. We don't believe in what you're saying. We get rid of Desi, then we blame Desi for everything, and now we're sitting at the bottom of the table. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Broncos get all the success. They get rid of him once. He leaves. We struggle. He comes back.
Get to a grand final.
We get to a grand final. We go the same route again. It's a cycle of life. We go, Wayne, we've got all these young throbbers. We've got the best young forward pack we've ever fucking seen. Rah, rah, rah. We don't need you no more. We don't agree. We want to run the club. You shouldn't run the club. The coach should always run the club, in my opinion, when it comes to broader stroke decisions. They get rid of him. The Manly Seagulls get all the success.
Get rid of Des.
Get rid of Desi. They bring him back. They get success. Do you know what I mean? There's a fucking common thread. It's clubs, administrations that forget that the coach is the reason they are where
It's
they are.
actually kind of wild to think
But no
Not
one
for Broncos
seems to
bash.
fucking get it.
But like
Bellamy.
that you guys let
Storm get it.
That you guys let Wayne go again. Like you lost him once and you're like, oh fuck, that's not great. But like to lose him twice.
And to sign Seabold, who had one good year with a great roster,
Yeah,
and
it's
give him
crazy.
6
yeah.
years. Like I know,
Yeah,
but
we've
you
been
know what
over
I
it,
mean.
but
Yeah.
like
But we are talking about
no,
that.
I know, no, exactly. That's what I mean. I feel like sometimes we
honestly-
bash the fuck out of the Broncos, but it's like you let Wayne go
It's the
twice.
cycle of it's a cycle of every club goes through it, except for the big dogs that understand that, like all of the clubs that have been strong for a while are clubs that have had like Bellamy and Robson. Their coach is like the forefront, like they lead everything.
Yeah.
There's no like CEO that is the big dog walking around rah rah. You know, for example, when Wayne was during the big years, I think it's Bruno Cullen was the CEO of the Broncos, and like. He just like let Wayne do what he needed to do. The coach needs to be the broad strokes guy.
Like who's the Roosters CEO?
No idea.
No idea. Panthers CEO,
No idea.
no idea.
Who's the Manly CEO? I know the owner hates us, but that's a different story.
But do you know what I mean? It's
Well, we haven't got that.
we have
in
a
concrete.
confirmation.
Although it has gone awfully quiet. over there.
it's a cycle. It's a cycle of it's a cycle of most clubs. It's a cycle of human ego. You know, you get success, you think you know better, you don't want to put up with the fucking crazy scientist.
But for some reason in my mind, I've got Tim Sheen's leaving. It's like bookmarked in my mind. And I remember thinking at the time, oh, okay, well, fuck, they didn't
Like,
go
they
on with
weren't
it this year.
going
That
well.
maybe makes sense.
Yeah.
Or they hadn't made the finals the year they let him go, something like that. And here we are.
Well, then they just went through like
Fucking 12 years later or
Rolodex of
11
different
years later.
coaches. Yeah, Jason Taylor,
Here's
Potter, Ivan
a
Cleary.
perfect example. Roosters came second last in 2016. There wasn't a peep about Robbo getting the sack or nothing. Second last.
No one said shit.
No one said nothing. And he actually, I've been told that he actually went to higher ups and said, I'm going to need a year to rebuild things. We're going to struggle, but after that, there's going to be. That's having faith in like a long-term vision. Like that's why even like a Michael Maguire, like. Even if I don't agree with some of the decisions he made, you've just got to stick with a coach for a bit. You got to
Give
give
them
them
a fucking
time.
go, yeah.
Give them time to.
If you sign someone for 5 fucking years
Yeah.
and you go around the circle and you're all in agreement and for reasons you've just explained, it makes sense, right? You got to give them time to put their blueprint in, which is probably what they said during the interview.
Yeah.
I need time to put this in place and this in place and this in place. Then you give them the fucking 5 years.
When they've
because
got
you
a track
picked them.
record too as well.
Well, if they've won comps in
Yeah.
the past, like
Yeah.
Maguire, you know what I mean?
And that's why, like, then someone will say, oh, well, how come Seabold didn't get the...
That's just gonna be our next
well,
question.
Yeah, but the reason was he was a rookie coach that
Yes.
has no track record of any long-term success. Even if you look at some of his under-20 stuff, it's not like he was winning comps then. The Seabold thing, it wasn't like, oh, we just kept humming along and then we'll see. This was, we went, boom, straight to
down.
the, pretty
Yeah.
much, like, we just nosedived.
like a drop hole.
So yeah, I think like you just got to. I think a lot of administration have just got to realise that the coach, he is the main guy. He's the guy that will fall on his sword, but he's also the guy that is going to get you there. But Tigers, I'm going Tigers for the win.
Tigers.
I was gonna go Warriors, but then I'm not strong enough in my my will, so I'm gonna go the Tigers as well. No, you know what? Fuck that. I am strong enough. Warriors. Fuck the
Okay.
DMCs. Warriors.
Broncos versus the Cowboys in a great Queensland clash.
I'm Broncos.
I've flip-flopped all over this all day, and this is where I've landed. You'll be pleased to know. Broncos to win.
Yes.
Because they're at Suncorp.
That's
what got me over the line.
Is Xavier Coates back in the side?
Nah,
What the fuck? He's not injured. So isn't the Storm trying to get him early? Let him go.
Yeah, I just think from perspective of Broncos, they're just like, you know what, we're still fucking playing the season. Like, we still want to have a quality winger to call up if we choose to select him. And what the fuck has the Storm ever done for us?
I thought Albert Kelly was in for Croft.
Yeah.
I mean, who the fuck? It's a fucking lucky dip, isn't it? With the Broncos halves.
Clearly not.
Close your eyes and just
am I
pick
now?
into
Does this sway an old boy potentially?
What, that Brody's in there? What, you don't believe that Brodie Croft has what it takes?
Not necessarily, no.
Also, no photo of Danny Levi. Been playing NRL for about 5-6 years. I think that's pretty fucking disrespectful.
Maybe
And
Danny
then
doesn't photograph well.
C. Rabati. Danny, not a bad looker. Danny
Yeah,
photographs
Danny
But
does
some
well.
people aren't photogenic, myself included.
you aren't photogenic.
I
You're a
am
handsome man.
not.
You can't take. I can't take good photo, but you look
I
bad.
can't. I once did some extras work, extras in home and away and shit. And and the guy thought I had what it takes.
Please tell me you have the videos of this.
No, I don't. I'll get to it. So my extras manager was like, go and get these photos taken. So I went to some photographer out west, and he's like, fucking doing headshots and shit. He's like, do you want to take your shirt off? And I'm like, no.
You were about to get K-World.
Yeah. I was like, I go, we're doing shit up the back.
Sliding doors moment. Get the shirt on.
Somewhere out west.
Yeah. I'm like, listen, bro, it's just you and me in this shed, and I don't have the bod. So that's where it is.
Take your shirt off. What the fuck? Why would you need to take a
bod shots? Maybe I'll get more money. I don't know.
You can become part of the River Boys.
Oh, you're about to have some fucking weird revenge porn done on you.
Anyways, so get the headshots. They were sent to my manager. He wasn't even really a manager. It was like he had like a fucking.
He definitely wasn't a manager.
He had like 1,000 people. Who could be extras. Anyway, he's like, I go, oh, mate, did you get those headshots? It's been like months, hadn't heard anything. He goes, yeah, they were horrible. I'm like, well, what did you do with them? He goes, I threw them out. I think my mum spent $200 on them. Cool thing.
You know, honestly, looking back on
Ella
it,
wants those photos more than anything.
Yeah, I bet she does.
She's dying
Was it you
for
just
them.
trying to be like handsome and shit?
Yeah, I was trying to look. I think it was like, just fucking sitting back to front on a chair.
Eddie had a real crack back in the day.
I honestly think the photos were never real. I think you were set up for a fucking.
No,
I've got a mate
that
who
was
had
legitimately set up.
He was trying to be an actor, and he was going to.
This like, and again, all jokes aside, this is disgusting, and it actually happens. This shit.
So our mate, I won't say his name on here because
no, we couldn't.
We can't.
No.
Not on his birthday.
No. So he went to a place. He went to do an audition in a hotel room in the Cross. Motel room in the Cross. And he gets in there, and this guy is just in there in a robe, and there's a camera in the fucking corner of the room. This guy our mate has crazy, he's just always in a fucking bind. He's just like, and so he's gone in there, and he doesn't register that this is fucked. And so he's like, oh, yeah, cool. So, like, all right, what do you want me to do here? Like, yeah, we ready to do the scene? And part of the scene is he has to strip nude and be tied up in the corner crying in this. And he's like, the guy's like, do you want me to tie you up? Like, the guy's going, oh, look, I'll tie him. Hey, and I almost said his name. And he's just like, no, don't worry, I'll do it myself. And so he's just like getting naked in the corner, and then tying himself up and then like crying in the corner while this guy's filming behind the camera.
He goes, I'll tie myself up if you don't mind. Like trying to make a fucking point of it. Like, and he kept saying to himself, I reckon I could take this bloke if it came to it.
If it came to it. But then he comes back telling us like about his audition, and we were like, dude, you realise you're like a cam girl and you just don't realise, like, your video is online somewhere now.
And he obviously hit the bloke up and never got
the footage ever. The guy was just like,
so he's got it somewhere.
He was getting live streamed onto something.
Mate, like
something dark.
All jokes aside, that stuff it's so like,
well, it's fucking reprehensible.
Yeah, it's disgraceful. What like a guy like Cable had to go through.
Of course.
Like,
yeah.
It's fucking how people can do that to someone, and the anxiety of having to go through
the blackmailing of someone the blackmailing of someone after with that sort of stuff is the worst part about it. There is a part of me, and I would say this to my friend as well, is like, you also have to know at some point.
You know what's crazy? They've done a study, and it's like, can you look the study up of people? There's like a 25% of people would rather die because they're polite. Like, look up.
As in, like, not wanting to go, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. So there's so many people are afraid of offending someone that they get put in these fucking mental. Like, think about.
Well, they did that. They did an experiment where a scientist wearing like a white lab coat, and if someone got something wrong, they would have to press a buzzer and would electrocute him. It wasn't really, but they thought it was, and they would just keep doing it just because the bloke told them.
Person of authority would just say it. They've done all sorts of study where
they'd just electrocute someone.
They were electrocuting someone, and it was more and more. They thought this bloke was in incredible pain, and they kept doing it just because the guy in the lab coat was like, "It's great for science," and they're like.
Yeah,
and only a handful of people were like, "This is fucked up. I'm not doing it."
And I'm pretty sure it's the same study. What they were trying to prove is like how quickly societies can go from like just a normal society to dictatorship, fucking genocide, because they get taught like a person in a position of authority. All these people, they're bad people. They're bad people. You hear it for 2 years. Oh yeah, they are fucking bad people. Then they become the them, and then before you know it, you're defending yourself from the them. It's just fucking crazy.
All of a sudden, you got a penis in a glory hole.
Mate, can happen to the best
It
of
can
us.
happen to the best of us.
Have you got anything
Always
there?
so do I, mate.
But yeah, so it's that kind of stuff. I think for everything that Cable has achieved after everything that he did go through though is fucking pretty incredible.
Yeah,
Mate, he's had one of the great seasons.
Like to go on, play Origin and become an out and out one of the best players in the comp after everything he. It's
I just
incredible.
also think there was like I've been quite, and obviously like I think that like people are going to make jokes about it because that's the world, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that personally. Make more noise. Sorry, that was Seba. But like, I do think that it's been quite impressive to see how rugby league's just been cool with it.
Yeah, I agree. I've been surprised because I thought there would be like, as you said, people make jokes about it, but they've been quite. They haven't like been vicious.
No, it's just sort of been like, yeah, dude, fucking, that's unfortunate, whatever.
That's crazy.
It's been the response has been better than I expected.
Way better than I expected.
Yeah.
I thought he would get crucified, but I think most people would be like, fuck, like
That's a scat situation to
that's
find
fucking
yourself
crazy.
in. Whatever.
That's crazy.
Play
on.
on. But he's playing great footy, so good on him.
he's a gun. Fuck, he's a gun.
He's a beast.
So dangerous. Like that game 3 Origin, he was so important to us, like putting pressure on your halves, also just in attack as well. And what's crazy is like he was like a benchish player at the Sharks, goes to Penrith and becomes a premier fucking back rower.
I didn't even know he played for the Sharks. That's how.
I had no idea.
That's what I'm like. He was, and even when they signed him, he was a kind of like a fringe signing, and then he's fought his way into the starting side at Penrith, and he's a premier. So like obviously Kikau is Kikau, but consistently, Catewell probably brings more consistency when it like standard of game. So yeah, he's fucking killing it. I cannot wait for him at the Broncos. He's going to be so good for us. That's exactly what we needed. Is like an older head that can bring grit to our edges.
Yeah.
Because right now, obviously, we've got Alex Glenn, but he's at the end, near the end of his career. Outside of that, we've just got all young hot boys, and hot boys are good. I love hot boys.
Yeah.
To an extent. But
When
you can't
in doubt, go hot. Remember
Yeah,
that.
when in doubt, go hot. But I think we've gone too far.
You
too
have.
hot. You've gone too
Catewell, not
hot.
a bad looker either. He's
Catewell is a good
hot-ish,
looker.
so it's like just get someone who can sort of like get these hot boys in line.
Yeah. He can relate to them as a hot boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
a leader
hot
of hot
too.
boys.
Yeah, a leader of hot boys.
You got to be relatively hot to lead hot man.
yeah, but
Oh.
you can't be hotter than them because that'll fucking wig them out.
Yeah, and intimidate them. And they don't want to. Then it becomes violent because they're trying to mark their territory as a hot boy.
Everyone's pissing, trying to like mark their territory.
Yeah.
It's
You don't
fucking
want
weird.
blokes on a footy field pissing everywhere.
No, it's counterproductive to
Yeah.
I imagine the game plan.
Yeah. Great point. Great
Absolutely.
point. Great
Absolutely.
point.
Broncos, Cowboys. I am going Broncos 13+.
Yeah, I'm going Broncos to win.
Rabbitohs, Dragons.
Ooh. $9 the Dragons are paying.
Yeah.
Holy-
I bet you they've left like no players out again because
Have the
it's a fucking
Rabbitohs
joke.
convinced you that they're a title threat?
No,
No.
Okay. Why not?
because they're not going to win the comp.
I
They're
just-
they're inconsistent.
I just can't see them beating Manly and Penrith and Melbourne.
So you don't think that they could go on like
The Dogs almost had them. They're just that
No,
too
but that's what I'm saying though. They're that scary team that like everyone underestimates, and then they go on a
but they
four-game
don't have,
run.
I don't think they've got enough grit.
You reckon?
Nah.
They
I don't
might
think they're
fuck
made for the
someone's
tough stuff.
season. Like they
Yeah.
might fucking.
They're bound to fuck at least one team
Yeah,
season.
they're-
I reckon.
they
I reckon
can-
one of the big dogs is getting fucked.
They
by
can
the
make the
Rabbitohs.
grand. I cannot see them winning.
Okay,
the
but you
comp.
reckon grand final? That's a win.
They could make a grand final.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
They could definitely fuck
100%,
some season.
100%. They like again, it's the old thing, like a full strength fucking humming Penrith. People were saying this before Manly started dominating teams, and now everyone's fucking petrified of us. But even taking Manly out, I can't see them getting through Melbourne and Penrith to win the comp. No.
This week, obviously, it changes once form hits back and Cleary comes back a little on that. But I just like how are you beating the Storm? You know what I mean? Like,
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah. Oh no, I'm with you. I more meant like Rabbitohs are a threat to make the grand final. I don't mean
Sure,
Yeah, that's
sure.
just-
They're a threat to make the grand final.
Yeah,
deep into finals, as you say.
deep into finals. Yeah,
As deep as you can go.
As deep as you can
Literally
go.
the deepest possible place you can go.
Or deep into
Mariana
finals.
Trench of the finals.
Yeah. If I say shallow, that usually means like week 1, 2.
Right.
If I say finals footy, week 2, 3.
And deep into the finals.
Deep into the finals,
is grand final.
that's grand final. Or it's 2 years of prelim finals.
Sure. Okay. You might need to write that down.
Obviously, I think Rabbitohs
Rabbitohs
can get the job
13+.
done. I think, but I do think like Dragons play that grindy footy where they can all of a sudden you're like, because like Rabbitohs are the flary, whatever. If it starts going wrong and then Rabbitohs grind you into it and you get into this shit fight,
Yeah.
Dragons can win that shit fight.
Or at least just fuck your 13
Yeah.
plus bet.
But yeah, Rabbitohs solid win. Knights versus Raiders.
I can't tip on these games anymore.
Is Pierce back? Fuck, what's
He's
wrong
not.
with him?
Look, I'll tip the Raiders here and the Knights will win. So if you're a Knights fan, Good
You're
on
welcome.
you.
Who's at half? Jake Clifford and Phoenix Crossland.
Mate, I think the Raiders are back. I really do.
I'm tipping the Raiders.
I'm going to go with the
I
Raiders.
don't know if they're back.
Mate, the way they played last week, it wasn't necessarily the result. It was the way they played last week. They come out fucking
they beat
ready
Payton,
to
mate.
rumble.
Yeah, I'm going Raiders.
Shotting blokes every set. It was crazy.
Sam Williams, best half in the comp. Raiders.
Raiders and Jackie Whiten's back.
Jackie
He wasn't there last week.
Whiten's back.
He looks like such a fucking scary cunt in that
Jared
photo.
Croker's return has kind of coincided with their turnaround a little bit, has it not? Or am
Yeah,
I
he's a
making
leader.
that up?
He's their captain. You know, he's
Yeah.
their
Skip.
fucking. Well, actually, is he the captain now, or is it Elliot Whitehead?
Get on Raiders' first try scorer in every game they play because I think that they just sort of exclusively score the first try. Just a
Storm
side note.
v Panthers. What do you think?
Storm.
Wow,
Storm.
Panthers are paying $5.50.
Yes, mate.
I'm definitely seeing that.
I'm
Gonna-
pretty sure
I'm
the
gonna-
line's 16.5.
I'm going to have a bet on the Panthers just seeing that as well, but I'm tipping the Storm.
Is that a
definitely.
record? First and second, and the fucking second's playing $5.50.
I mean,
just
they're
think-
losing. They don't have Cleary. They don't have fucking Carousel,
To'o.
and they don't have To'o, and they don't have Isaiah Yo.
And the Storm will want to make a statement. And the game's been played in Queensland where they love playing.
They're basically a Queensland team.
They are a Queensland team.
True.
Their feeder clubs are fucking Queensland
So
Cup.
Munster's back, I assume.
Yeah, Munster's back.
Look at that side, bro. Stacked.
Thanks
Justin
for coming.
Olam is a fucking
Dude,
handful.
He KO'd the scream, the guttural roar that he released after knocking that bloke into like switching off his brain. I was like, that's who you want. I couldn't imagine trying to tackle a human like that. Fucking terrifying.
You wouldn't be able to, Tom.
No, he'd knock me out. Well, he might actually kill me, but you know.
That's
Crazy.
look, Ryan
Pappy's still at
Papenhut.
17.
Yeah, he's on the bench. Yeah, sure. Sure.
That is fucking mental.
Yeah.
I think Storm, and I think it's going to be convincing. Bulldogs Titans.
I mean, $4 ain't bad for the Dogs.
I
but
don't
the
mind
Titans,
that.
The Titans got the job done on the weekend. They're like they win one, lose one, win one, lose
I
one.
don't hate the Dogs at $4.
I don't either, but I don't think they'll win. Good on Cole Flanagan for getting another game.
Flanagan's back. That's
Cole's
interesting.
back.
At 7 as well. Jake Averillo moved to 6. Finally, this is the lineup that I think they should be going with. 7 and 6. Corey Allen at fullback. That's interesting. Whereas Meaney's been moved to the wing. I thought Meaney was fucking pretty good
Has
last
Corey
week.
Allen been injured this season, or has he been playing some reserve grade? Like he's gone from Origin fucking fullback to reserve grade, not making the Dogs
I think he was
team.
injured for a little bit. He did his
He had a
shoulder.
pretty serious injury,
Is
I think.
Kotrick
Okay.
injured or dropped?
He-
Kotrick is injured.
Out for the
Foot.
season.
Out for
Yeah,
the
out
year.
for the season. Foot, I think.
Also, Jared Croker is camper captain.
He is captain now.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think Flanagan back at 7 is just a good thing. I think that actually changes my. I was going to say definitely the Titans, but I just feel like Flanagan, he does offer stability. You know, he's going to be able to kick okay. He's going to be able to lead the troops around. You think anyway.
I'm getting a vibe.
I'm going to still go. I'm still going Titans, but I think it's going to be a close.
Doggies.
match.
Yeah, like there's something about the hue of the blue of the Bulldogs right now. I don't know if it's the screen. It's a very good TV, but it's popping.
It's popping, isn't it?
It's fucking popping.
Look at that
dude.
pop. Look at him pop. Look
Adam
at,
Elliott
look at how
returns.
dull.
That blue's
look
never
how dull
popped.
the Titans are.
That's dull as shit. That you believe it or not, that's yellow. It doesn't look like it.
I'm
the
seeing that in
Titans.
black and white, Tom.
Yeah,
I'm seeing that in black and white.
Oh, what? This is fucking 1940s.
The sheriff has returned. Adam Elliott.
Oh,
Dick bet.
dick bet. Bulldogs.
Dick bet. Biggest cog in the comp.
Yeah. If there's a bigger dick in the comp,
There isn't.
I want to see it.
Not well. Look,
Because I've seen the biggest dick in the
I've
comp.
seen the biggest dick in the comp, and it's a motherfucker.
Yeah. Anaconda 2, starring Adam Elliott.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Okay. Worst match of the round. Just miss it. Sharks versus Manly.
This
Okay,
is
can I
going
say
to be-
something?
Yeah, you can.
We are as short as the fucking Storm are against the Panthers. Were they $1.15, the Storm?
Well, I know that the Sharks are the same at the Panthers. $5.50.
They are.
$1.15.
$1.15.
Yep. $1.15.
What? That puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
Because the Sharks are going to get pumped.
The Sharks are going to get absolutely worked into the ground.
They're
So
gonna
that's
get
really
They're
disrespectful.
going to get pumped into the ground.
That's disrespectful to the Panthers, to be honest.
It is. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I'd be furious if I was a Panther.
So look, I'd say if you're just looking at betting on this game, I would be obviously responsible, but just throwing in try scorers. Saab 2 or more. Parker at least 1. Harper at least 1. Garrick 2 or more. Tommy 2 or more. Foreign, Cherry, Paseka. Get them all in.
Is Morgan Harper edging in as the best centre in the game?
Can I run something by you?
Yeah, he's got. This is a Morgan Harper.
It is.
Hey,
It's Morgan
have I
Harper.
not been on Morgan Harper since fucking round two?
No. I want to run something by you. This is my opinion, and I know what I'm talking about, but I need validation. Is Morgan Harper is he the greatest line runner in the comp?
Mate, he'd be fucking up there.
He'd be right up there.
He'd be right up there.
His line running is fucking exquisite work.
It is. It is.
If you could bottle it and sell it like Coke have with water, you'd be a fucking trillionaire.
Yeah.
Trillionaire.
No, absolutely. I think he's even channeling Boyd Cordner levels of line running. Like, he is a fucking great line runner.
He said,
Like,
Boyd, thanks for your
unbelievable.
service.
I
I'm
think
the
you
big dog now.
you lock him in probably for New Zealand centre with Joey Manu.
Is he a Kiwi?
I'm pretty sure he's a Kiwi.
Fucking lock him in then. I'm happy to lock him in.
I'm pretty sure. Apologies if he's not, but I'm pretty sure he's a Kiwi.
And
He is unbelievable. What's crazy is he was at the Dogs and he couldn't get a start.
There you
He's
go.
Kiwi.
Good. You know what? Manly's at their best when they have a great Kiwi in the centres.
Oh, you better
Shout out
believe
to
it.
Stephen, shoulders of justice, Matai. I hope you're doing well, bro. Miss you, bro. Love that he's a Kiwi. Love he's in the centres. Greatest line runner of all time. Brad Parker, the strongest player in the NRL. Stronger than
It's
an
starting to feel a lot like
Christmas,
right? You know what I mean? You've got a Kiwi in the centres. You've obviously got two famous brothers in the back row and one at the fullback. You've got DC and Foreign again at the halves. Like, what?
Tell you what else.
What more do we want?
Tommy shaved his head a couple of weeks ago.
He means business. It's
He
business
means
time.
He doesn't give a fuck about his hair anymore. As soon as you see a player shave their head, you know that it's business time.
What have we always said? The NRL season cut up into 3 distinct thirds. Before Origin, during Origin, after Origin. After Origin is business time. He shaved his head. It's business time. He knows it.
Schuster, never been more blind.
And never been better.
No. He's actually got blinder as the season's gone on, and that's sort of, that's why you're seeing him play better and better, because it's like, I actually can't
Well, he's
see anything.
sacrificing one of his senses so the others can thrive.
Enhances it. Yeah, his vibe senses definitely seem to be increasing as the years go on.
Running game, it's not just about not looking where he's passing. It's like,
Mate,
I'm just going to...
All jokes aside, the Olakau'atu, Schuster and Trbojevic back row is as good as any back row in the comp, in my opinion. That's not even taking the piss. It may not be the best, but it's as good.
Yeah.
It's the best.
For example, Olakau'atu, obviously kick out, has had done some crazy things, but Olakau'atu has done similar-ish kind of things. I'm not saying he's as good as kick out yet, but
Is he better in defence? He seems to fucking eat people.
snaps people in half.
he does snap people. But in attack, he's this big, rangy ball player.
Ball in one hand.
Schuster is as skillful as they come. You would say Catewell and him are different players, but they both offer similar impact. Now, obviously, again, Catewell and Kikau have done it for longer, and you would Isaiah Yeo and Jake Trbojevic, you would say they're both equal. You know what I mean? They're both as good as each other. Jake Trbojevic has more runs on the board, but form-wise, Yeo is a little bit probably better at the moment. But you know what I mean? It evens itself out. When you come to the business end of the season, Jake Trbojevic has fucking delivered many a time. It's scary, bro. It's honestly, the Manly are the only real... them and the Rabbitohs, but more Manly, probably the real threat to Storm.
That feels really
Panthers.
nice to hear you say that.
Morgan Harper,
Like a nice warm
but I want a bit of credit back though. I was talking Morgan Harper up.
Fuck off. We put you onto Morgan.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Oh,
here
you
we
think
go.
that you found out about Morgan, or you think we were like, oi, bro, check out Morgan.
Give
He'll run
me
a
a
line.
break. I was talking about
I've been
Morgan
telling you all
Harper.
year that Morgan's the greatest line runner in the country.
Carl Lawton back in. Who's
Curtis Sironen returns.
Yes, because Sean Kepi, I think, is having a child. Congratulations, Sean.
Shout out to Sean.
Friend of the show.
He's
Sean.
Friend
a
of the
family
show.
man. Look, family
Yeah.
values. That defines
Family
the
club.
club.
Great bloke. I played
Dylan good off the bench as well.
I played Call of Duty with Kepi. Great
Did
bloke.
ya?
Yeah.
When?
A while ago. We streamed it. I was on his stream.
Get fucked. Is
Yeah.
he a bit of a gamer, old
Yeah,
Sean?
he loves a bit of game.
Fucking oath. I might
Jumped
need
in.
to get an Xbox so I can play COD with Sean.
I like Kepi. He's a good bloke. Curtis Sironen, it's crazy to think you're going to bring this maniac off the bench.
Yep.
I actually think it's his role this year off the bench is going to be crazy because he's a maniac. He's going to bring that energy.
Yeah, you wonder whether he would have been like this is sort of making a bit of a like if you're Sean Kepi, obviously you go for the birth of your child, but like you're almost giving a player an opportunity that you probably wouldn't want to, like because Curtis is a starting player at the start of the year at Manly. So, like, he's coming back from injury. He's got ball skills as well as being a fucking animal.
Well, I think in perfect world, you would have bench 14 Walker, 15 Kepi, Sirinen, Sipley.
Yeah.
Yes,
Lawton
I think so.
been good, but he's new to the club, you know,
Yeah.
like
I think so.
which is a fucking really good bench.
Curtis looks like a fucking psychopath and needs
He is
to
a
be locked
psychopath.
up in that photo, which
Yeah.
I love.
And he drives a Ute, which is a very manly car.
Very manly car. I've
Manly,
often
also
thought of that.
manly,
Manly
like
Seagulls,
masculine.
manly car.
Well, they're manly men.
I'd drive a Ute.
They're manly men.
I'd have no reason for a Ute. It'd be the most.
mean,
waiting Ute
Where are you going to fucking put your toolbox, Tom?
That's a good point. I'd
You know
buy
what I
tools.
mean?
I'd buy tools.
Hey?
Look, this is an opportunity for all
I'd
three
have
of
the
us to get a
I'd have
Ute.
the lawnmower in the back, the whipper snipper. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Just
yeah,
in case,
I'm not,
baby.
no. It's just there.
Put a
in
ladder
case
in
you-
there.
Maybe just get out and start edging in people's gardens.
You
for
know what
them.
I mean? Bit of fucking dirt.
It's all new.
Get the dog in the back.
It's like all
He'd hate
new.
It's
it.
all shiny. It's not no petrol in
There's
them.
literally no marks on any of the stuff in
No,
the
no,
pack.
no.
It's just all new and
Yeah,
got
it's like
tags
North
on.
Korea when they've got.
I
Like,
drive around
fake
with a bit of fucking
stores
timber in
and
the back
shit.
there, mate. Why?
Ooh, get a 2x4 on
You know
there.
what I
That'd
mean?
be nice.
Fucking oath.
Now on to the Sharks, because there is another team playing on this day.
I have no idea.
It is the Sharks. I actually have been liking Braden Trindle. Connor Tracy, he's a gun. 6 is actually his preferred position. So if he's been playing this good in the centres, imagine what he can do at 6.
Wow.
Jesse Raymond's been good. Will Chambers obviously returns after literally he found out that he went to the birth of his child, and then he found out the borders were going to shut. So he drove like 23 hours through the night to get to the border to get into to Queensland, because if he didn't, then he may never play rugby league like NRL again.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's crazy. So he caught a flight, which was like an accidental breach or something for the birth of his kid. And then when he found out that if he didn't leave now, he would miss the top 30, I think it was. Do you know the story, Matt?
Yeah, pretty much. He didn't want to get locked out, and he didn't want to also do the 2-week quarantine. And on his way, he fell asleep in a truck stop for about an hour as well while he was driving.
What goes on there?
Did anyone ask him to take his shirt off and take some photos?
Yeah, that's where Eddie
Tossed
gets
and
his
turned so
headshots.
much.
Was that where you were getting the headshots?
It was a truck stop.
But yeah, eventually made it to Queensland so he could play for this year.
That would have been a fucking intense drive.
Fucking oath. And didn't he like pull over for like 3 hours and was like, fuck it, I'll just keep driving?
I think it was less than that. I think he couldn't fall asleep.
That's fucked. Man.
Where'd he drive from?
Victoria.
Victoria to Queensland.
From
Queensland.
Melbourne. Would have gone through Dubbo.
Great part of the world.
And
That's what made him fall asleep.
the Storm actually gave him weights and stuff to use when he was
Great
down
club.
there.
That's nice.
I mean, they're just a great club.
You know what? I mean, rugby league. I
What'd
mean,
they
it's
give him?
adversarial.
Stuff to
They
keep
gave
him
him some
awake.
weights. No,
Weights.
Start to give him away.
Alleged.
Allegedly, obviously. Blake Brayley, I thought he was really good last week. Aaron Woods, he continues to deliver value. I wonder where he'll sign next year. There's been whispers of the Melbourne Storm. That'd be crazy. Could you imagine? Goes there, wins a Prem, rides off into the sunset. Toby Rudolph, obviously good. Talakai, fantastic last week. Nakora, he's a great line runner. When you're talking great line runners, he's up
Yeah.
there with the best of them.
Britain can run a line.
It's a big loss with Sean Johnson, though. He is so important to that fucking team. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks with a serious hamstring strain.
Potentially
Season.
sees it right. Sharky's career over.
Yeah, which would be a sad way to end. I actually think it's going to be a closer game than you guys give it credit for, but I am going to tip. I will finally give it to you, Sharks 13+.
You piece of shit. And we tipped the Broncos. Absolute dog. Is that Sunday? 4 o'clock?
Yeah, Sunday 4
Fuck,
o'clock.
I love that.
I love the 405
Love that.
game. It's my favourite.
405.
All right, guys, make sure to follow Hello Sport on Instagram and Facebook, Punters and Dribblers on Facebook. Subscribe to their podcast, Hello Sport, on your podcast app. We also have a merch drop, 6 p.m. next Tuesday. 6 p.m. next Tuesday, a merch drop. You want to be there, guys. Limited release. So once we sell out of this, we will not restock this stock. Specifically, grab a case of Bloke in a Bar this week, and I'll go and fuck myself. Thank you. Oh, wait.
Leave your comment on the about even for the bet. Like,
Yes.
you got to pick a bet this week. Anything in rugby league related. Tip of a game. We'll pick one that we were going to take on, and then you get a free case of Bloke if it comes off. But
I would say this: you don't need to make them that outrageous.
no.
Yes.
Because some people are like, "Oh, pick one that's going to win." I'm like, you should be seeing what these fucking dribblers are throwing.
We
at us.
don't. I haven't got. No one has gone head to head. Not a single person. They're putting in like 6 try scorers. I'm like, you don't need to do that.
Keep it simple, guys. Go
Keep it
to
simple.
About Even on the Hello Sport YouTube page. put in your bet. It could just be 1-12. Sharks beat Manly, something along those lines.
Don't do that one.
If you
Don't do that.
we're talking about stupid bets, and if you beat them, they'll choose the bet. They'll let you know. They'll respond to your comment, and if you beat them, we will send you, or they'll send you a free case of Bloke in a bar. I'll go and fuck myself.